Hello guys, this is STG Weekly number 137 featuring Fraxy, the boss editor from ancient ages that allows us to build bosses from various parts and create unique scenarios called try, which allow for more complex things such as full stages up to even full-fledged shmups right there. And so I'm your host for today, Extruderx. Aquas couldn't be today because he was doing a run at AGDQ, Contra 3. And so right now we have these few wonderful guests such as AlexMdle.
Yo, good evening.
PureQuestion.
I live.
Yeah, you certainly do. Okay. Yeah, Arc of Dream.
Yo.
Yeah, these three are Monolith developers from the episode that we did a while ago here. We also have Eboshidori.
Greetings, everyone.
Yeah. And ZarroTsu.
Hey.
Yeah, that's great. And so, Eboshidori is one of the makers of Final Boss, which was SG Weekly episode number 80. And so, it's nice to see you again, guys.
Yeah, glad to be here again.
That's a good show.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, let's ask you, Alex. How was Fraxy created originally, and what was its purpose? Just what's it generally?
Fraxy is made by a Japanese guy who goes by Mon. It was probably inspired by titles like Warning Forever. In fact, if you go in the game files, you will probably find a few references here and there about it. It's mostly a program, just like it's like a sandbox for shmup bosses. You can build your own stuff in there out of individual parts, and then you have like unlimited lives and can fight them as much as you want. You can aim for a higher score, maybe a faster time. It was mostly made to just screw around.
Yeah, that's some interesting screwing, because we see that 4 out of 6 people here have begun to develop their own full-fledged games based on their Fraxy experience.
Oh yeah. It's a pretty good engine to like get into the shmup development. Teaches you a lot of very basic stuff.
Yeah, the editor is very basic that even a person like me who has hardly any experience in coding could still use it. Although probably in hindsight it's not that intuitive as I might remember.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, that's pretty clever. So today we are going to go throughout the entire history of Fraxy. Each era will be represented by a specific boss, and every person here he has something to show. Well, yeah, besides me. And so
yeah, Shooter, where's your Fraxy boss?
You had like an hour, you could have made one.
That's actually true.
Please. I was too busy creating the stream cards and anything. That's
It
just...
probably wouldn't have been the worst one in the playlist.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's time to go to our first video, just the very beginnings of the Fraxy bosses, because all of them are created by the community themselves. Okay. Drunken Goomba and his Monolith.
No relation.
Yeah, most definitely.
Also, there are some that come with the game, but we don't talk about those.
Yeah, they're free roam things that I don't entirely think were meant for human consumption.
Yeah, some alien stuff.
Well, that actually showcases the best of all how it first originated as a kind of Warning Forever thing. Because while Warning Forever was kind of locked into a fixed area, here it isn't really the case. But it's still like a bunch of parts that you can stack on top of each other, just like in that game.
And when you destroy them, all the ones that were attached to them also fall off.
The basics of Fraxy.
Yes.
Okay, right now, yeah, we see this wonderful list of all the titles. Yeah, Giant Enemy, Crab, Halo, Swan Fighter, Twin Storm,
Something else.
Hell. Yeah, well, yeah. So there are multiple modes in the main menu, such as free play and try, and we'll get to the tries later.
Yeah, we'll try and cover that.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so we are at 17 seconds of the first video, right?
18.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
What?
So, countdown ready. 3, 2, 1, click.
Go.
Oh yeah, no,
Rank
that's
1.
true vintage. Basically, as one can see, the boss is just kind of circling around the player and just firing weapons aimlessly. And that is what Fraxy used to be like way in the beginning, in the primordial Super Fraxy bosses.
Yes.
Those were the simpler times where there weren't any events, or very little, very small amount of them.
I don't
And as you
know
can see,
if any of us we've been around for this.
actually I have been around for that.
I
Were
think
you-
back in the day,
Yeah, totally.
you were limited to this particular screen resolution.
Oh, could you not even put it above this? Oh, that
I-
explains so much.
And there was
I
no
forget,
fixing.
honestly, but I feel like you couldn't, or if you could, it just sort of gave a lot of dead space.
Mhm.
And
It's even
Like-
worse when half the screen is taken up by unregistered hypercam too.
yeah, and the score.
Exaggeration. But yeah, some advanced techniques at the time included things like setting the health of individual parts to -1, which would make them indestructible. Which you can see right now. There's like those parts that surrounded this core that just exploded, and you could not actually destroy those. So you
Oh.
have to be accurate.
Yeah,
So
and
you had to shoot the core.
Is
Oh,
is
yeah.
that the upgrade thingy that I see was flying out of the boss?
Oh
just-
yes,
just
it
ignore
is.
that.
It is, and you can guess what happens if you fly in the middle of it.
You collect all 3 of them like in Choransha.
Yep.
no,
But it
actually,
does something else.
you
Oh,
you
yes,
go
that's-
into like overdrive mode, which lets you
You
So-
become stronger for like 5 seconds.
I almost
Unlock
forgot
all the
about
7
that.
Chaos Emeralds.
Nobody
Sorry.
uses it anymore.
So going over this terrible UI that we're looking at, on the left, the giant bar about the size of Nebraska is the player energy, which is normally you would take damage and that would go down, and simultaneously it would affect players' abilities to shoot and dash around, because dashing was normally limited. So
Well, I
you
think it still is. It's just it isn't full hell ship or something like whatever.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
there's
and-
like several types of ship you can use. There's one called attacker, which is
Standard, tanker, attacker, bullet hell,
and quicker.
quicker.
I think
Yes.
we're getting the audio guitar solo for this standalone core, just doing that.
And look, and there's just the core alone, cannot do anything, and it's about to go down. Well, it can move towards you. It can like try to nudge you, and that's the boss.
Glorious.
And that was +1.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very early to Fraxy, but things began to like
It's the
change
good
very
old
quickly.
days.
So
Okay, next.
yeah, Fraxy has like, sorry,
Yeah, our next boss is Epic Ace. Yeah, Atomic versus Idol at the Howley. And what's
Clearly A70M1C.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, to be exact.
The OG master.
Oh yeah.
These are all
And-
the different personalities in the Fraxis scene. Always inventing something.
Yeah, there were a lot of faces, especially back then.
I'm pretty sure that Atomic was pretty much one of the most earliest high-profile Fraxy players, or should I say creators. At least I found Fraxy through his videos, and this boss is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And this video begins at 21 seconds.
Okay, glorious. Countdown ready? 3, 2, 1, click.
So,
Yeah, so
I
what
think-
you...
Sorry,
So
go
what-
on.
Oh, sorry. So what you will probably see immediately is like it is a much bigger boss. It's like really huge. You can see on the minimap in the bottom right. You cannot even really see the full extent of that boss, and that actually marked a lot of Atomic's bosses. They're really big.
He
There are
was
two
very
cursors.
famous for the.
But my one is
Looks.
bigger. I'm going to fight them.
It's not even the biggest one.
Yeah, I think Atomic's big gimmick, and most of his bosses, maybe not this one, I don't entirely remember this one, but he would throw something in where if you destroy a particular part in a certain order, it would change how the boss worked.
Oh yeah.
That
It
was.
that was really cool at the time. Blew everyone's mind.
Yeah, so
And everyone's
I remember-
ships either.
I remember most of his bosses started with like a static vault-looking shape, and you'd break up the middle part, and then it would open,
Oh, yeah.
and then the boss would be
Yeah.
inside.
That was later. He was actually doing remakes of his bosses. So there's a vault version of this boss, which I don't think we'll be looking at, but does that.
But yeah, like look at the boss right now. It's like this really blocky affair, which actually a lot of big Fraxy bosses look like because
Although
because those wings.
That's-
It's
that's
actually
we'll
one of
see.
it's one of the biggest parts in Fraxy. So if you build a big boss, you usually use it.
So this is our first boss with more than one phase.
Oh, and by the way, if you destroy parts, they release bullets. Hence why there's like this huge bullet storm right now.
Unless
Yeah,
you
so Fraxy worked off a rank system similar to older shmups, where your rank would go off after you clear loops or whatever, however it would work.
every time you killed a boss.
Yeah, in Fraxy, every time you killed the boss, I don't know how it determined it, but it would increase your loop value or
Whatever.
by an arbitrary amount. I don't think it was a static. I think it might have just been like a random number between 1 and 10 or something. I don't know exactly.
I
how
think
it-
that I think that it probably had something to do how much you died during the boss fight actually.
And it might have
Maybe.
been like how many parts the boss had or something. Who knows?
Yeah, so the higher your rank, the more obnoxious things would happen. Like the basic thing was most weapons would shoot faster.
Well, they
Or
shoot
the-
more things.
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually like a single bullet part would shoot 1 bullet and that'd be it. But at rank 100, it'd shoot like 6 and then stop for a little bit and then shoot 6 again.
Right.
But,
And like
but the other,
and like this laser here would last longer.
yeah. So
Oh. Along with that was the settings in Fraxy that will determine the game mode. It used to do stuff, but the most recent version, that functionality was removed.
I think the settings still exist though. Like I know there's a damn macro setting in free play and for funsies, but I don't even know what they've ever actually done.
All I remember for fun did something like gave you like infinite bombs.
Oh man.
Like it removed the cost of bombs or something.
Yeah, at these videos, players already die like all the time. Glorious.
That's,
By the way,
I
yeah,
couldn't
that
tell what any of them did except for fun, which did something really extreme if I recall.
I wonder if this is that tentacle rope which was predicted in the previous video.
That's likely.
Well, no, this is a holy boss. It's completely pure. Don't worry about it.
Pure.
yeah, it's
Yes.
it's just Dark Force from Fantasy
And
Star.
Ah, yeah.
I think it doesn't look anything like him, and I don't know what those tentacles are supposed to be, but
I
mean,
really.
he's using.
it's an interpretation.
yeah.
These cyan bullet colors is really good. Like yeah, the bubbles or the particles, lasers. I can see just a major influence from Treasure and particularly Gradius 5, which was already out 2 years ago.
Actually, the bullet color can be set freely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
You can set the bullets to any color you want. As you'll see as we go through, they'll all be
Yep.
pretty much different colors.
Even rainbow
Even
color,
shades.
if you're really good.
There's a boss I made forever ago that utilizes that, and the bullets actively change colors during the boss fight because of dramatic flare.
Yes. You're talking about white, right?
Yeah, I don't remember if anyone actually did that before I did, so I think I blew everyone's minds.
Well, you like had to
Maybe.
use a try for that too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise you can only change bullet colors before you start the game in the config.
Yeah, you can't even set them on a per boss basis.
So, yeah,
And
another thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
especially astute viewers will probably notice that this boss is based off of an already existing video game character, and that's actually
This will be
Kind
a
of.
recurring theme.
yeah.
All right, a
Because
question from the
Fraxy,
chat.
Fantasy Star Online.
Yeah.
Inertia.
Yeah,
So as we'll see when the boss eventually dies, rank also affects when parts are destroyed, whether they'll shoot bullets at you or not.
Well, we already saw that earlier when it changed phases. The
Yeah,
entire
we
like
saw it
billion
earlier.
pieces blew up and shot like a billion bullets.
It'll
Yeah, but
probably
it
be
shoots even more bullets.
It'll
Yeah.
probably be really
Is
obnoxious when this
there
one dies.
inertia, like whether on the player
Like-
movement or the dash thingy?
A little. I don't
Kind of, and it
remember.
depends on the ship.
Define
Yeah, probably
inertia.
it does.
A lot of the
actually-
ships feel
Like
like
the
they're
player
moving to
physics.
jam.
Like acceleration and deceleration on the player as you try and move. Like, does it take a while to stop? And not really. It's pretty precise.
Yeah, for those of
Kind
ours who
of,
have seen
though.
the Monolith episode.
Oh, here comes the
And
bullets.
video ends now
Okay.
at
Yeah,
6:05, 6:10. Yeah, when the
Giant
boss
leg
explodes.
spike, bullets everywhere. And then it
Mhm.
respawns immediately, but we close the video before we see that.
Yep.
We're gonna
Right.
talk about that.
And the next video is like where the boss start really, they start to really take shape, start to resemble a bit more like your traditional shmup.
Okay, finally a video from someone who is here.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
already recording everything.
It begins 12 seconds in.
Oh, okay, great. Countdown. 3, 2, 1, click. More metal! Instantly.
Yeah,
This is
everyone
this.
seem to use metal a lot.
And again, this boss might resemble a boss you might have seen in some other game before.
Sure, and Shaw.
Vaguely.
Maybe.
I might have
Unfortunately-
heard of that game sometime.
Unfortunately, a quirk of the time, you can't see the entire boss because of like the tiny
Because-
320 or 240 window.
Because the screen
Yeah.
size can only fit 50 pixels.
And
Yeah,
to be fair, of the tiny screen size, this was the probably the last time that the Vulcans, so tiny little bullets, were actually useful.
Oh yeah, the good old days.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I'm not
Did
sure
you-
if
no
if
damage.
you mentioned it already, but yeah, during this time, the different bullet types were pretty much coded in stone that you couldn't really change any speed or any other attributes of them. So
Right.
you
When,
had
when was the update that finally added events?
I have no idea.
And you mean extra parameters.
2,000 years ago.
there weren't even originally events.
Wait, really?
I
Probably
think so.
2007, maybe.
Damn it, I'm too new.
Okay.
I have like several versions of Fraxy.
Yeah, I can notice that.
Yeah, 2008
here.
around that time.
Yeah, around
I
here,
think, yeah.
there's more lag noticeably compared to the previous videos.
We're starting
Oh,
to
man,
see
the boss is
actual form
transforming.
transitions. Which, the last one kind of did it by having a bunch of parts that blew up, and actually there was another boss underneath. But now we're actually seeing animations, like doing stuff to change forms.
To be
Giant
fair,
air.
this is still pretty nice to look at.
Mm.
Yeah, this is
It's actually
this is a
really
very
cool
nice looking
design.
boss.
The extra slowdown might have something to do with my poor computer at the time.
I mean,
most
it was
likely.
2008. This can be forgiven.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Oh man, the lasers.
Oh yeah, that was pretty uncomfortable.
Pretty? Yeah, pretty is a good word to describe Fraxy, actually.
And then all the energy drains and you die. Nice.
Yeah, at the time, pretty much all bosses had
We're
worked
actually
like
going to
this.
see what I think is a pretty cool form transition, especially for the time.
And the lightnings, oh, man, these, yeah, just like
And
from
the way it
Darius
like bursts
Gardens.
through is actually like very good for the time.
And even now, actually.
Oh,
This
but
look pretty cool.
So many upgrades. Oh, by the way, yeah, what are the upgrades? Oh, maximum energy blaster.
Well,
oh,
So there's
Yeah, they're-
three. The red
they're
one
kind
is
of,
bullet energy, or the red one is bullet power. One of them is energy, which increases how long that meter,
your
or
max.
the max
Yeah.
meter of that. And
It's
then
your
there's a
Not the actual
regen.
length of the meter, thank God.
And then regen is how much or how fast your energy restores itself. So
Yep.
if your regen is like max, then you would be able to dash around and shoot a lot without worrying about it.
Yep. And it depends a bit on your ship as well. I think like bullet hell, like you couldn't even increase some of them. Like you couldn't increase your energy on bullet hell.
Yeah, bullet hell, everything's base is level 1 and you can't touch it.
I think you can get power on bullet hell, can't you?
You
no,
can get
I
damage
don't
up.
think-
Yeah, you can get damage up, but not
The fighter
energy
core
or
got
regen.
serious.
Bullet hell actually has the best energy regen of any ship I recall.
Yeah, it has like really
Yeah,
low
but-
amount of energy,
yeah,
but
but it-
fast regen.
Yeah.
But it dies in one hit, which is kind of important because bullet hell is sort of the
Except to Vulcan.
standard. It's sort of the standard ship of Fraxy.
Yes, except
At
to
least now.
Vulcans, which is why no one uses Vulcans.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think it would survive a Vulcan hit.
That's what I
A
just
bullet
said.
hit.
Yeah, it would
No,
survive a
Alright,
Vulcan.
and
but it
the
does
boss
survive.
ends now.
Okay,
The
yeah,
background music was Toho Necrophantasia.
yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Okay.
And then the next boss we are going to see something called fixed area mode, which will become dominant in Fraxy afterwards.
In fact, I believe you will not see a single boss list
Yeah.
that is not fixed area mode.
And this
Yeah.
boss lasts from the beginning to the end of the video.
Yes, so this will be one of the longest videos we're going to watch. Not the longest.
Okay, so who's the creator of this video?
This boss was made by Umagatuki, sort of an enigmatic. He was a Japanese Fraxy maker. One of two we will be covering today.
Two Enigmas.
So he made a lot of very, very, very good bullet hell. This is a lot more advanced than what we've been seeing so far. We're already starting to see some pretty modern looking Fraxy stuff
Like
here.
we're entering the golden age of Fraxy here.
Yeah,
yeah, this
2009.
is- Late 2009, like the last couple we were looking at were like 2007, 2008. This was where we really started making big strides, and you're starting to see like real high quality bullet hell patterns here.
Yeah, not to mention that if the previous three ones, they were kind of like the arena shooters, this one will be looking like a traditional shmup, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is
Yeah.
where you're finally seeing like people actually have control over what the bullet parts are doing, so people can actually like make patterns. Whereas before you just kind of slap some bullets on the boss and they just kind of did whatever they wanted,
Yeah, it's kind of like one update came out and suddenly everything happened.
and suddenly
And suddenly everything
Bosses were good.
changed.
And that's when the Fire Nation attacked.
everything changed when the EX params update appeared.
Okay, this video is long. Let's get to the countdown. Yeah, what's the time?
From the start to the end.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah,
Three.
yeah, just turn it on.
3, 2, 1, click.
Oh man, that looks ominous.
So right at the bat, we got an actual screen resolution higher than the size of a postage stamp. We also
and no unregistered hypertam too either.
yeah,
It's-
well,
it's
it
covered
could be
by the-
hidden by the background. We don't know.
Oh, that's what that gray bar is.
We
Yeah,
also have a different
probably.
view. Fraxy also offered different user interfaces, so this one is really tiny and out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know why the radar still exists. I don't think that's really useful in a static
You
screen
can turn it
environment.
off now.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
also
you can,
you also
but-
notice that the radar only shows solid parts, so even though there's this gigantic boss, the radar is showing one single tiny red dot.
Suddenly Death
Yeah,
smiles.
so
Mm-hmm.
And by the
you could
way,
also
look.
change the way how the radar displayed enemies. You could either display just the core or all the parts or nothing.
And just look at that boss. Just look at the design.
Yeah.
All those
It's
moving
gray.
parts.
yeah, this is around the time when people started caring, I think.
And like, I know that may sound unimpressive if you like you've seen a shmup boss anywhere in your life, but Fraxy doesn't really work that way. You can't just draw your boss. You have to construct it out of tiny parts.
Yeah,
So it's like
Fraxy
a
has
collage.
its own timeline compared to the traditional shmups timeline, of course. So,
Right.
So like a boss like this looks amazing.
yeah, and
Although there was the advantage where you didn't have to know how to.
boy,
Rip.
So
So
like-
there's like two separate factors. One, you can lock the screen, and you can also lock the player direction. So some
Right.
of these vertical bosses don't lock the player direction, and honestly, I think it's better that way because, like you
You'll
can see
see.
with this one,
This
Oh,
one
it
does.
depends.
there's like a really tiny dot you got to hit, but most of these patterns don't let you stay in the middle, and that kind of becomes frustrating,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Vic Viper's here
Yeah,
to
that
clean
kind
your
of
clock.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And like it's
Oh,
probably
man.
one of those. It's probably the first video on the list that really showcases the power of like just making a video of your boss, because you like saw before how the boss descends. There's like there's a bell tolling,
Mm-hmm.
totally atmospheric. That's just really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of marked the beginning of people doing more theatrical stuff than actual bosses, I think.
Yeah,
People still wanted to release their boss so other people could play it, but
but you gotta make it flash.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So in 2009 there becomes this split, as in somebody wanted to make like bosses, and then there's this subculture of just creating colorful videos. Occurs.
They are intertwined, actually.
Yeah. Like, you'll see, calling it a split would be a bit disingenuous, because basically all of them were like this.
It's like you want to make a really good boss, but you also want to present it really well. And then when like the tries get really advanced, and we'll get to that, you could actually like even make them this flashy outside of the video.
Yes.
But it's just a matter of presentation.
And now we get to see that design become
Even
smaller,
better.
but spookier.
This might have been Halloween boss. No, that's December.
Yeah. This was actually
It's around
very,
time.
very shortly after I started. Because I think I first started posting November 2009.
So more for the just controller concerns. So like I suppose usually you aim with the mouse.
Yes.
Yeah, you can set the controls in the config to be either. Yeah,
Can Fraxy even be used with a actual controller?
I have never tried that.
I
I
mean,
don't think so.
there's always Droida key.
Actually, let me check the folder. I'm sure there's.
But yeah, there are like two control schemes. Either you use a mouse and keyboard or just keyboard. And if you use the mouse, then it automatically aims where you point the mouse.
Yeah.
So it's like
so
it's
under
kind
the-
of like Kato Cho's Gun Roar game that came much later.
Yeah, under control mode, I have mouse, keyboard 1, keyboard 2, and that's it. So it doesn't look like.
Two keyboards. One keyboard's not enough. Also a hitbox controller, just to be sure.
Oh. And we see some like movement shenanigans going on.
Oh yeah, that's fancy. Actually, a movement like that isn't then used for like several years before like Zarro uses on one of his bosses again, I think.
He used it in Shadow again.
Yeah.
I was going to say
It's
that
like
the boss movement was done before the boss movement was pretty much tied to the cores of the editor, and
Yes.
different cores had different kind of movement that you couldn't really control that much. It was kind of erratic. But
Yes.
here from this boss from on, you could use some different kind of parts to move the boss more accurately and actually create some your own movement patterns.
Yeah, there's two major movement parts. One is just the sliding mover that just goes in like one direction back and forth, and there's a rotating part that you can see on this clock boss. The two, whatever the heck the side hand dealies are, those
Gears?
are slowly rotating gears, I guess.
Clock
Yeah,
gears.
I don't know how clocks work.
And that's actually it. There's like move joints, which move back and forth, the rolling panels that rotate, and...
Which is what Zara was saying, so now Alex is giving
Yeah,
you
yeah.
names.
Yeah, and there's like an aim part, which just aims at the
Oh,
player.
yeah.
That's what
Like
it
you
does.
see, whenever, so secretly, whenever you see all of this is like invisible parts that are doing all this.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the fact
it's like
that there are bullets aimed at the player is because there is a gun on a part that is a part that aims at the player.
Yeah, it's actually-
Not because the gun has like some function on it that says aim at the player.
Yeah, and
it's
the gun
actually
parts themselves are invisible too. Like
Right.
these cores
actually-
obviously don't shoot these bullets at all.
And so likewise, when you see these bullet patterns, what the creator has done is mounted a gun on top of a part that rotates.
What was
And
that
then
large
set-
explosion?
It
That was
wasn't-
just all the parts dying.
Oh,
Also, there's also an like thing called an effector, which is basically just a visual thing.
Yes.
wow,
It
this
shows
is cool.
sprite.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
This is probably.
This looks
You'll
pretty
see, like, a
next
lot
gen.
of people are being influenced by different things. This is almost definitely being influenced by the final boss from Toho 11.
We
Yeah,
love to show
nuclear
off.
fusion. But
Yes. This
really,
is almost definitely an Utsuho pattern.
re-
Although, I
really,
don't know,
there
was
are
that even
there are
ever
like 10 bullets at screen. how can you dodge this?
By moving.
Yeah.
It looks like
Oh,
we
yeah,
are
that was the
aimed
previous
at you.
year. Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget that you also have dash. Oh shit!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was
So,
just damage. That was
Yeah,
really sudden.
actually,
in
yeah, actually,
hindsight,
like,
none of us know how many patterns.
like Zarro and Pure just said, like, all the weapons in Fraxy, all those bullets, they are actually invisible right now on this boss. Like, the best way to...
The thing shooting them, that is. The bullets
Yeah.
are obviously visible.
Well,
yeah.
this thing looks just like, yeah, you know, stone-like. From either the Karoga
What? No, there's a bunch of
What?
stone-like bosses. Yeah, like, there are bosses based on the stone-like. They are just not in this list.
Yes.
Actually, my very first boss was based on the Stone-like and Xuka from Radiant Silvergun.
Mm-hmm. And then you would
Or-
reference it twice later. 3 times, really.
Yeah.
And other people
Yeah,
would reference
I
it a few times too.
Yes. Oh yeah, like you.
Well,
So here we have what I would
As the
like to
Venom
call
also
a
referenced it
Jeff
in
Lee.
Aquarius.
So this is what we call a medium difficulty pattern.
Actually, yeah, for a long time, people in
Medium
Fraxy just
difficult.
kind of like said this arms race to see who had the hardest boss. It was kind of
man.
insufferable for a very long
Yeah.
time.
That makes me wish we had Fallen Angel in. Just
Yeah,
for
we-
eternal gluttony.
Oh god.
People don't really consider much about difficulty because you don't have any limited lives, so everything
Yeah,
is
that's-
helping
that
those
is-
challenge.
Yeah,
That's kind of
everything
a
counts in the
double-edged-
number of continues.
So who cares? So who cares if you died 500 the 10
Yeah,
minute boss?
actually, that makes Fraxy really good for speedrunners. Because you can die a bunch of times, but every time you die, it delays you.
Shmup speedrun,
Right.
you...
Oh yeah,
I mean, unless it's Counter 3, yeah, which was a great run, by the way.
at last.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Aquas.
Yeah, so a lot of bosses run a lot longer than they should because of multiple factors. One is
They are
Like this-
mostly
this
showcasing.
boss, there's a teeny tiny core in the middle you gotta hit in order to damage it at all.
And it's
you
probably
also
running
keep
at 10
dying.
FPS. And, they're
And
probably
they
dying
have
a lot.
and they have a million HP.
So, like, too little, too late. In hindsight, a lot of bosses are kind of the pattern is the same pattern for like 5 minutes.
This boss is done, and the next one starts automatically. You better
Yeah.
close it.
Okay.
Because this boss starts at 5 seconds in. Okay, never mind.
Maybe just turn it on.
So, the guy who has made it was...
Dr. Tecto.
Oh yeah, he was also kind of prominent.
He loved
Dr.
turtles.
Tecto was definitely one of those people who made very, very, very cool looking bosses. He was never very bold, but he made very, very cool, stylish bosses with very, very detailed appearances. This is probably one of his more famous bosses, and definitely one of the coolest thematically. Also, all of his bosses were named after Greek mythology,
Not all of them. Wait, no, actually, yeah, all of them.
except for like the one that was kaiju.
And the snake one.
No, the snake one was from Greek mythology.
Oh,
Alright. Oh, see, there are just so many bosses. Yeah, it's been a tough choice to try and just determine which ones would be in this episode. But yeah, we try to show you just the evolution of the creations and what kind of parts started to appear in the game, what kind of extra like hacks or tricks to
Oh,
enter
yeah.
the bosses. Yeah, pimp your boss.
Right. I think we're about to see the coolest attack in this phase of this boss.
Oh, cool. Okay, what's the time?
Yeah. This
5 seconds. 5 seconds in.
Okay, cool.
one. Oh, I
Countdown.
thought we were watching it already.
3,
Oh man, Pure.
2, 1. Quick.
I've actually done this for every boss. Alright.
Alright. And like, the very interesting thing about this boss compared to the bosses before it, I don't know how significant it really is that it actually uses physical parts to try and squash you, which is not really popular because player bombs cannot actually protect you from that. It's
Hey,
a
in the
weird
first
quirk.
5 seconds of the first video, we saw Drunken Goob get hit by his boss.
Okay,
Well.
this is definitely something out from Treasure. Just the bosses that try to obstruct you by using their body parts.
And actually, in the very first seconds of the boss, we also see a new projectile called Energy Egg. It's kind of special.
Yeah, Energy Egg, when it detonates, or like at the end of its time when it dies, it can do other things, like shoot bullets at you from its death point.
These ones don't, but yes, you can do that.
And also, if they hit you, they temporarily disable your energy regeneration.
And slow you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
It
is
was
like
one of the most inspirational bullets for us developers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you
this
could
is
say
very important.
you could say Fraxy has a status ailment, and that ailment is purple electricity.
Funny. Okay, why is the ship thrusters are now red?
You can always change the sprites and implement custom ships. I don't know how much of that you'll see in this playlist, but it is definitely a thing that has been popular. So
Yeah.
this is a custom ship that the creator has implemented. It is
And also-
independent of the boss.
Yeah, and also the HUD can also be changed. That's also important.
Yes.
You'll
Yeah.
see
Well,
that
we saw that
later,
we saw
I
that
think.
a couple times. You can
No,
also
I mean a custom HUD.
yes.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite attack with the crushing arms on this
Oh
particular
yeah,
phase of the
that's
boss.
really cool. But it gets cooler.
Yes,
Very
we're about
shortly.
to- attentive people will
I
notice
don't
that
want to spoil it.
attentive
Oh.
people will notice that at the start of the video it said the boss's name was Brontes, but the video says the boss's name is Atlas. How mysterious!
We're about to see it. Oh man, how unprofessional. Energy X aren't wiped away.
I don't think you can do
that-
that yet.
Yep, that's what I'm getting at. But yeah, here we go.
This is
Brofist.
this guy music,
Brofist.
isn't it?
It's just all this game music. But yeah, this boss uses minimal bullets actually at all. It just tries to squash you a lot.
Yeah.
Oh
There's-
yeah, that
and
reminds
that's-
me of
No,
Gigafacer.
there is a phase with bullets.
Yeah.
It does the master hand finger guns.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
That's
too.
that's also a Gigafacer thing from Maho Daisaku-san.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really shoot lasers from its eyes.
Oh, and it
That's
does
only
this
one.
too.
Yeah.
You'll notice that this is before we could make those go further, so he had to like put double stacked ones like halfway down where the fire would go.
He just wanted to pat the ship on its head.
And actually, this is only the second coolest boss that tries to punch you
Oh.
in this
Yes.
list. And like, what's really cool is just all the animation. That's it's like a little extra that makes the boss stand out. Like
Yeah,
you can
there's
see
a
how
lot-
it's like
there's
how
a
its
lot of
shoulders
characters,
rotate, or how they like extend forward when it punches. All of
I
that
was-
has like done extra.
I was wondering if the tail of the boss was the snaking of
That
the
is
part.
that is actually a
Well,
thing
pro-
Fraxy has built in,
Yeah.
where you can have a tail connection setting where it kind of drags behind the part it's attached
Yeah,
to.
I was wondering when it was added. Was it added at what point?
I think something similar was probably being used in the earlier bosses, like Idola had those like waving kind of tentacles.
Yeah.
I think it might have been that. Might
Yeah,
not
the
have
second
think-
boss.
I-
No,
It
there
might
was,
have been just aim part.
been. Those might have just been aim parts.
I'm pretty sure those were joints that were turning at set. in
So
the
this
wall.
boss is actually older than the last, because this is July 2009. The previous one was December
It's still
2009.
around the same time.
This sequence has been
Oh.
broken.
Phase 3.
And it loses a tail, how sad, but it gets those sick sword horns.
He
Like,
got
is that-
angry.
Well,
like it's
everyone has
sword
their own
horns because
fetishes. Yeah, this boss panders to everyone. Oh man.
Here we go. Told
mean-
you.
and like I'm pretty sure those are rockets or like
They
missiles.
are. Those are missiles.
Oh yeah, it's like the very first time I've like watched Fraxy, it was like one of Eboshidori's bosses, and it used rockets for the first time, and I had no idea what the hell those were because I was using an older version of Fraxy. I
Oh,
just
they
thought it
didn't
was
have
like some type of
rockets
core. Yeah.
Nope.
Everyone
we
likes
see-
cores.
Yeah,
Here we
it's
see
like
people
this.
Here we
Like back
see people
then-
building custom projectiles.
That actually does happen like a few times. Like
So
really
that was
rare
ac-
because
that was actually not a projectile in Fraxy. That was a movement part that had guns attached to it. So
and
that was
also an
invis-
effector.
Yeah. So that was basically an invisible thing moving, but that was essentially a physical part of the boss that was being shot forward, not a bullet.
Which is why it stops midway. And
Yes,
then
which is why it stopped during the form transition.
Yeah, so as you can see, this boss has a little weakness spot. Just it's pretty small.
It's kind of hard to distinguish, and it's like a weakness of a lot of Fraxy bosses that you cannot tell at a glance what exactly you're supposed to shoot. And it only gets worse later on.
This boss actually has a bit of a problem with that because actually those parts are all set to be invulnerable, and then just have an event that triggers when they're hit, so it's not even flashing the normal way something would when you hit it if it's vulnerable.
Have fun hitting it.
Whoa.
Yeah, another problem a lot of Fraxy bosses have that I've noticed over the years is there's no like wind up to certain attacks. It just sort of happens and you don't expect it, and then you die.
Like we saw with Eclog last time with the like
Yeah, you can see that with E-Clock, with those bullets the heck out of nowhere at Mach 4, and then this boss with like when its hands are going to crush you, there's no indication that it's about to close in. It just sort of does. Like they stop for a split second and then close, and that's kind of your indication. But
yeah, well, you're kind of supposed to just keep moving so that you'll know.
Wow, these revenge bullets just.
Yeah, they ruin the animation on a lot of early bosses.
yeah, eventually a flag was added to the two parts to like prevent them from shooting death bullets.
And
To
we're just
avoid.
immediately applied to every boss for every.
Okay, the game's
Yeah.
Fraxy, just in case you weren't sure.
Alright, the boss is an end.
And
Yeah,
the
man,
next
we're about
one-
to see another quality spike, I'd say.
Oh yeah, this one's going to be a real curveball.
Yes.
Okay, who's the author of this
And-
one?
Yeah. Here's my favorite boss.
Oh yeah, it starts at 22 seconds in.
32.
Yeah,
22.
22.
Who's the creator of that thing?
So this boss was made by Firefox 11 or Ignis Vulpes X1, which is
Those
Latin for
foxes.
Firefox
Mhm.
11.
Who is I previously he's also got into game design.
That's true.
Though not shmups.
So the interesting thing about Firefox is his bosses are not very much inspired by shmups. They're sort of more inspired by platformer or like running gun style bosses, where it's more about kind of knowing
Or-
what to do.
Or even fighter games.
Kinda, but I
Like,
mean,
espe-
like not the way you
especially-
play.
Yeah, but especially this one actually. You'll see what we mean.
Yeah, but I mean, like you'll see a lot of like the pattern does something very specific, and you need to know where to stand rather than like do precise dodging between intricate patterns.
Man, Pew, now you're just spoiling it.
Yeah.
And this was like something that he's talked about. This is kind of his approach.
Mm.
Alright, so 22 seconds, right?
Yep.
Yes.
3? Okay, yeah, get the countdown. 3,
Okay.
2, 1, click.
And probably not. Yeah, right away you will probably see that the videos that he made, he's put a lot of text in those.
Yes.
We got into the bad habit of throwing text all over the screen and or before the video starts because we all wanted to write our own story and didn't quite know how to write.
It was kind of a major attraction to like making Fraxy bosses and putting them online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we all just figured, hey, we have a video anyway, so we're presenting something. So
It might
let's-
as well also be a story.
It
let's
kind of
give it
it kind of-
context.
yeah, it kind of got out of hand later on, where like intros would like take 2-3 minutes. But at first it was kind of innocent.
There seems to be another boss there now. That wasn't there before.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's just how kangaroos are made. You just
they multiply.
Bullets, and then there's another one. And you'll see, like,
wow.
this is not a bullet
Analyzed.
hell pattern. This
I
was a,
totally did not expect that.
and this is where we get some like very, very crazy stuff now. So one thing that this boss did that was actually very revolutionary at the time was that it doesn't always use the same attacks in the same order.
Oh yeah.
Much later actual Fraxy versions would actually add the. But originally, it was very difficult to make a boss not just do the same thing every time.
Yeah, like randomizing in Fraxy is still kind of a problem. You have to like introduce some kind of player input discrepancy.
Well, not anymore. Now there's actually just like a randomize event.
No, believe me, it still isn't perfect.
Wait.
Maybe not.
Well, about random, it's actually quite interesting. So, what do you mean? All of the previous bosses were static to some degree?
Yep.
Yes, they would always do the same thing from start.
Yeah, but I mean also just like the patterns themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh. The kid died.
Fields.
Oh,
And
Mama's
Mama
got angry.
died.
This
Close
is why
attack.
you,
One of them.
this is why you don't go into steel caves and attack the
Giant robot
robot.
kangaroo kids.
well, frame rate died like a couple of bosses ago, really.
Anyway, this is where he put all the really cool attacks.
Frame rate
This is where the screen quakes the hardest.
Yeah,
pattern analyzed Quake.
I am quaking
Go
from
figure.
the awesomeness.
My favorite game.
Now I know why people hate Rumble in games.
This is probably the most bullet hell pattern this boss has.
And the one that he does is just, well, stays, well, never mind.
It's kind of the infamous circle of bullets.
Anyway, here's the most famous boss.
Oh yeah.
We call this the Zero Crusher.
Is it? Yeah.
This looks something like a Wanna Be the Guy fan game would do, really.
It's more of a Mega Man fan game.
Oh. Even better.
Isn't this Mega Man music? I think it is.
So yeah, note to aspiring game devs: don't shake the screen wildly when the player needs to have attention to the screen.
I think you'll find that that's very great and adds a lot to the game feel.
Just do not overdo it.
Yeah.
Or at least add an option to turn it up or down.
Star screen
especially
shake
up.
in Monolith.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and it
So-
cycles.
I like the solution to this pattern is just sort of stay still, roughly.
And then you get hit by the last one every time, apparently.
Yeah.
And then you add commentary in your
Why am I unable to dodge that?
I don't know. How are you able to talk while dead? Your physical body
How did
doesn't
you
exist.
return? Oh man, those video game abstractions.
And then it throws a meteor at you and you have to shoot it. And I think if you don't, it like blows up the entire screen.
which is incredibly intuitive.
That would be such a major just screw you after all of this fighting. Okay.
So yeah, I think if you don't shoot that at it, basically just always kills you. So this boss is a very interesting where it has 3 attacks per phase. It has 3 attacks. It goes through them all. The order is kind of decided based on where the player's standing.
Yeah, and when the kid arrives, it also upgrades.
Yeah, but then this is like part 2 also.
Yeah.
But and then there's a big attack, like the one where it does the kick, or the one where it throws the big rock, which it picks one of those at random.
And kind of
it does
interesting.
the 3 basic attacks again.
Yeah.
Which is
And
why you
kind
see
of-
it kind of loop and then kind of do new stuff.
And the video ends now.
Yes. We don't
I
want
would
to watch
like
that last part.
I would like to add to that, boss, that it shouldn't be really underestimated how hard it is to animate, actually.
Oh yeah,
Vortex
and you,
Reaper.
you,
Yeah.
you will see that
Yes.
the next boss is going to be like a perfect example of that. It starts 5 seconds in.
Yeah, physically animating the boss as it moves around, like in a professional, giant air quotes way, is really, really frustrating, and a lot of us kind of didn't bother. I don't think. By which
So,
I mean, like if something comes in and you would think its body would swing in such a way when it comes in, that just never happens. It's usually
You
just
had to,
static.
yeah, if it does do that, they did it manually and it probably took like an hour.
Oh yeah.
Or they just use
An hour.
And that's like one of the
Did
first
it not
major
take everyone
flaws
else
with
an hour?
boss design in the Fraxy editor.
Whoa, did it not take other people an hour?
Probably more.
It took me 3 hours.
Okay.
It really is that time consuming sometimes.
Yeah, it's
And it requires such precise numbers if you like wanted to move a specific way. And if it doesn't, then you have to record every single movement part, depending.
Yeah. And
That's-
like resetting, it doesn't do
And
that
that's-
manually either. Had to do
Oh,
that
man.
yourself.
Big
And yeah,
There's
respect.
like there's no automation to that,
Big
Branch
respect.
except
off.
that like child parts.
Now
Branch
the,
off.
now the movement across the screen is actually like pretty automatic. You can kind of make it handle that itself.
Hmm.
Like
Anyway,
the move joints are a lot better than the rotation stuff.
yeah, let's take a look at that boss.
So
Okay.
this boss
Yeah.
is pretty kind of came out of nowhere, and is a bit crazy looking.
Yeah.
So where are we on this one?
5
seconds.
seconds in.
Okay.
Okay. Raptor 337K.
As a Venom, as
Yeah.
Okay.
he
It's
was
kind
known
of-
at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just a wolf. Yeah.
Just a wolf.
yeah.
Yeah. So the last one was a kangaroo. This one's just a wolf.
Okay, yeah, great.
With a
So
jetpack.
It looks like a mouse creature
spoilers,
to me.
spoilers. Jetpacks are not just we don't give wolves to the jetpacks. I mean, vice versa. Damn.
I mean, how
Okay.
else is it supposed to fight spaceships?
Oh, all right. Yeah. 2010.
Are we in the video? Just to make sure.
Okay. Yeah, just yeah. What's the timestamp?
5
5
seconds.
seconds.
Okay, good. Countdown. 3, 2, 1. Click.
Go.
And wow, it's suddenly very colorful. Whoa, that wolf would really benefit from some fresh meat.
And like this might look slightly janky right now, but my god, just look at those legs like swinging, like
Just
that.
Just
yeah.
imagine how good this looked 8 years ago.
Oh yeah. And like no, like it sounds like we're joking, but actually like the torso movement, the movement
To
of
be-
the hind legs, and just
To be
yeah,
quite
just general shape.
honest,
Yeah.
he looks like a
I-
boss from the Darius series. Like
Yeah.
kinda. It's like this steampunk wolf.
That's kind of the defining feature of Firefox and Venom, though he later did more ships than that.
Yeah. I
Whoa.
don't actually remember as a Venom doing any ships like this at all after this one.
This is a
Yeah,
very
this
good
Did some
pattern.
wolf paintings though.
This was probably his most interesting looking.
Oh.
Yeah, Pure doesn't agree with me, but I think the Asman's bosses are actually really interesting on their own, regardless.
I mostly think the bullet patterns are kind of a mess on this guy's bosses.
A little bit.
And like that was just kind of like it's a billion bullets.
Oh man, and look here, it fires like lasers upwards, and then they fall down.
Oh man, what a revolutionary idea for
For
Amazing.
2010.
So as
I
you
want that jetpack.
as you
I
see,
think I'd already made 10 bosses back by then.
Yeah, but
the guy
but this one is
aims at the
contextualized.
core of the boss, and it has that health bar over it.
and like this showcases just how Euroshmappy Fraxy can be sometimes. Because you have no, really, you have regenerating energy bar.
Yeah.
And those homing lasers, they don't actually kill you when they hit you. They just drain the health.
Also, this has one of those fancy newer interfaces where the health was a circle around the player ship. Too bad you can't see it too well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which you can never
Oh,
see,
and-
because he also has like a barrier around you and like rotating options and.
Which is also
Also-
probably the first instance of extra like player weapons here.
So this
Was
looks like this is an enemy part barrier on the player, and barriers have a property where they can reflect other enemy bullets. So this is being
Only
used.
certain ones though.
This is being used to reflect those little tiny rings that are being shot, as well as these lasers from the looks of it. And then,
Yeah, you can see it right here.
and then the barrier just has like one hit point, so that you'd shoot through it. You can see it
Yeah.
breaking constantly as he's moving around.
So the idea is it's supposed to be kind of like a reflex where it only blocks bullets when you're not shooting.
Oh yeah, reflex. Yeah, the Elfinix series.
Yeah. It's kind of the idea. So when the player shoots, it breaks the barrier, but when the player isn't shooting, the barrier is there and blocks some of the bullets.
Yeah, I believe as they introduced the reflection to barriers, pretty much everyone made a boss like that.
So
I
that's
believe-
the another way just of Fraxy evolution. So the reflection.
Oh yeah, it's like we cannot even show all the trends that like came and went at Fraxy over time. For example,
Yeah,
like
we needed like 6 hours for that.
yeah, like when they introduced like those energy walls, which are just like lasers that you can
Which is
make
the-
not damage you.
Yeah, same
People
with
started
me.
using them for like those wacky 3D effects.
Oh yeah, that too.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the wolf decides to invade some more of your personal space.
So this is what
Oh my God.
This is what I kind of meant when I said messy bullet pattern.
Oh,
Yeah, this is a
boy.
Kaizo pattern if I ever saw one.
Like this is Hibachi level.
But it's not pretty like those are either.
Well,
Like
that depends on you.
the closest thing that reminds me of it is Sora, the Dojin game that was released the same year.
Oh my
The
God.
side-scroller one?
Yeah, the
I
sequel to
remember
Sukuri.
that. It was nice.
Yeah, but there you could actually swim in the energy bullets and not get hit by them. Here is just you tank everything.
Yeah. And like, yeah, okay, bullets
Whoa.
kind of getting crazy, even for me right now.
Okay, people who
Ship
said
is
that they're able
vulnerable
to
because
dodge
it
rain,
had a
watch
lot of
this.
calcium.
Oh, and he just died, finally.
Crisp 2 FPS action.
Karma.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, like, the boss itself is really cool looking, but you can see that it's actually kind of static.
Like this boss, it features like the things that in a traditional shmup just the worst kind of things that would be yeah altogether. Like there are curvy lasers combined with the homing lasers on your position, and there are just this much density. But we
but
have the
Israelis
reflector,
have
so it's
one.
fine.
Oh,
boy.
and there you just saw something really cool.
Yeah, just the background attack, just like in Darius
Yeah.
Gaiden. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's...
what actually happens there is like this is like an extra part of the boss made entirely out of shadowy parts, which is built to resemble the boss itself. So,
You'll see,
again.
there's a couple other bosses that do that. I had one that
Yeah.
did that, and Zap and D did that.
And like,
The fact that Zap and D did that was kind of a twist.
and I wanted to say that for a while now, but the best way to describe making bosses in Fraxy is cheating.
Yes.
If you could see all the invisible parts that do the background work on the boss, it would be all over the place.
Which you can do if you open it up in the editor and then turn
Yeah.
it Zap.
Yeah.
It's like
Being a
vi-
Fraxy creator is suffering.
All right. Yeah.
it's like a visual representation of spaghetti code.
Well, Unreal Engine has that too, though, now. Where you can turn on where you have the, thing, where it's all the connections.
The spaghetti mode.
So Spaghetti Danmaku is supposed to be the representation of spaghetti code.
Right.
Kind of, yeah. It's like everything there is spaghetti. Like, you have to attach parts to other parts. You have to make events sequential too.
Yeah.
And they are also attached to individual parts. It's like it really is very sequential and very
Yeah.
dependent.
Teach Fraxy to your mom so
Basically-
you could have mom spaghetti.
Basically, Mom just gave us tomato sauce. We're like, well, I guess we're making spaghetti.
To be
Palms are
honest, like
sweaty.
this leg animation, it doesn't really look cringy. It looks stylish. Like it's specific
Oh,
kinda.
and it's
It's kind of
exploding.
jank. Oh, also the boss is dead.
Yay.
Yeah, I think I was.
And yeah, the video is over now.
Okay.
The next video is full length.
Okay. Good.
So click on it when you're ready.
Or watching Shrike
Okay,
next.
cool.
We can
Yep.
play a short one.
It's
Since
very
foil-
different from this boss.
Tinfoil.
A lot of
okay.
bosses have this weird issue where nobody knew how to really end them. Like the Firefox one was probably the closest that we got to an ending to a boss. Most of the time they just explode.
Yep.
All the
Well,
parts.
that one also exploded.
What's wrong with that?
Well,
Come on,
You-
exploding is nice.
yeah, but I'm thinking a plain boss, you want its one wing to sort of clip off, and then it sort of moves around violently a bit, and then it's,
You're thinking about Reflex again.
okay.
Okay, let's stop the countdown. 3,
Speaking of
2,
plain bosses,
1, quick.
Okay. Alright, this is actually a replay of a boss. So you can see that nice replays HUD.
Also, it has no sound.
yes, it's a.
Actually,
don't
it has
worry.
sound. No, it has sound.
Or does it just start later?
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah.
And you can see it rotates before the boss starts.
Background
Which means
shenanigans.
which means that we're actually looking at a try.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the first try that we see in this.
And it's not really a solid execution of a try, it's only really used to like rotate the background.
Yeah, it's just a little holder for boss rather than a stage. Kind of what tries are meant to do.
Yeah, and the boss itself is actually one of the most mobile bosses I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Actually
this,
really cool.
this is a pretty cool boss.
Yeah, it utilizes like movement in a lot of different ways. You'll see that.
Especially considering it came from a guy who didn't really do anything else that I'm aware of.
Well, he did
It's
it.
actually
You
a
are
very,
the
very
bosses.
cool thing it does with the missiles there.
I still have no idea how he did that with the missiles. I guess like made
I think
missiles.
I think they explode into other missiles.
Oh, and those cool swords.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it looked like those
fantastic.
missiles.
I
They
think
curved.
I think those were missiles that were sent to explode into other missiles that do the same thing.
They're probably still going right now.
Oh,
I think they get wiped off screen, or else they would be. If it was free roam, they would be.
Well, no, I think they despawn if they're like very, very far away from you.
Oh, maybe so.
Like bosses do too, I think.
Alright, we forgot the most important limitation. There can only be, what, 1172 bullets on screen?
And there can also be only 512 parts on the boss.
No, it's
Wait.
511.
wait.
What? Oh yeah, 511.
Hold on. So you mean there are only 1100 bullets on screen maximum at once?
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Including
that
the
point
player.
they stop spawning until more go away.
Yeah, but
And you actually...
thing is, in the traditional Danmaku games, there was a cap of like 5 times lower than that. Like,
Right.
Oh.
There's
so
some,
it's actually
interesting-
quite generous. I think not even like stuff like Toho games go like that far. Not even Mushihime-sama.
Wow.
Right.
Some bullets in
Fraxy-
Fraxy are made of more bullets.
Like, you'll see these lasers here are 10 bullets each.
Wow, Fraxy actually wins somewhere.
And actually, so are the homing lasers also every segment of the trail bullet. So having one of those can sometimes eat up like 50 of your bullets towards that cap. So like that particular pattern where it does that burst of those lasers was probably actually like 200, 300 bullets, even though it's only like actually 7 bullets.
Yeah, but looking at this try, the fact that it actually works and it's made in basic, it's actually really impressive.
Okay,
Yeah,
and
wait,
video
wait.
ends now.
Okay.
Alright, the next one?
Yep. And now we get
Uh-huh.
the longest video we were watching today.
Ooh, second longest.
Well, we're gonna turn the other one on double speed, aren't we?
Yeah. No, I meant another one. You'll see.
Oh,
But
right,
yeah.
right, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the next video starts 20 seconds in.
Okay.
This one is also made by someone in the call.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And it's also a try. But then, like, this time it's way more pronounced.
Although it is also, yeah. Well, no, it is kind of multiple bosses, isn't it? Are they
Yeah,
are they separate
It
files?
is.
Okay. Timestamp.
Yeah, it's a boss rush.
Okay.
Timestamp.
With a bit of a framing device.
Mhm.
All right, are we ready to go?
3.
It's too bad
Countdown?
for skipping the intro. We would have hear some amazing voice acting.
Wait.
Just imagine my voice through like
So
3
yeah, what's
filters.
the timestamp for that one?
20 seconds.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's get going.
3, 2, 1, click.
Like,
Wow.
right
I
off the
actually
bat.
really like the appearance of the start of this boss with the like flickering lights down a frame. Doesn't last very long though.
And then it becomes a Radiant Silver Gun bonus boss.
Is this what little girls play with nowadays?
Definitely.
Oh, it's
And like,
hardcore.
Oh yeah, it's like the best boss in this boss rush, in my opinion. But, like, this,
But it lasted like
Yeah.
3 seconds.
it doesn't last long, but it's got the best gimmick.
Oh.
This
Yeah, they
one,
get-
not the previous one.
the
Doll
gimmick is
is
just-
the
Framing device. Yeah.
You'll see him come back in between every boss.
Oh.
And you'll see how it actually had 4 segments rotating around it, and then the destroyed one of them. Each one of those corresponds to a boss from the boss rush.
Yeah, so if you were to fight this boss, whether or not it still works, the boss order is determined by which of those little outer cores you break.
Yep.
So you can do these in any order.
And then the doll himself will have increasingly elaborate bullet patterns you'll have to fight to before you can actually reach the next stage.
So a majority of these bosses you're going to see, you can attack the center core and destroy it at your leisure, but breaking the outer ones will like take off a good chunk of its health as well.
Oh, is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah, and simultaneous to that, all the bosses we see, I think their health drains automatically over time, so you could technically beat this boss without ever shooting a bullet, I don't think.
You could pacifism mode it?
Yeah, you could pacifism mode it, but it'd probably take you like an hour because it just drains very, very slowly.
Well, it probably doesn't apply to the doll part, does it? Like, you probably have to shoot these, don't you?
Come on, to all in
yeah, you
a
gotta shoot
cave
those.
game, yeah, it takes like 40 minutes.
Oh, and here we see another recreation.
Look, it's that boss from that game.
What?
If we wanted to, we could have gotten a lot of Helsinki recreations in.
Yeah, Helsinki had a profound impact on the community.
Man, I just can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, so after the other wing breaks, if you look at the boss HP bar, you can kind of see it slowly draining on its own, even though the player doesn't quite hit it yet.
This is a
HP
pretty
bar?
good use of destructible bullets, by the way.
Oh yeah, those.
I was actually watching this earlier, and I was thinking that was probably the best use of destructible bullets in all of Fraxy.
Ion rings, missiles, and I believe energy eggs are the only ones that are destructible.
Okay, any
that's
reason
correct.
to only break one part?
Not really.
Well,
No.
well, he tries now. Okay, he broke it.
So now you can see the health bar, and you can see it slowly draining on its own, even though the player isn't shooting the boss. And then it
Yeah, I see.
starts to drain faster.
The health bar is only visible when every segment is destroyed.
Yeah, that's how I did this. Or
Interesting.
Why?
put it together. I don't know.
It was
I don't-
it was 7 years ago. Don't ask.
I don't question my own decisions. Also, here's this nice pattern.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
gravity
this
wells.
Is one of the coolest parts. This is the thumbnail, if I recall.
Yeah,
Basically, those are like parts that immobilize you if you step into their range, represented by those purple circles.
and
Also,
And
inside,
it's are swords.
yeah.
Yes,
This
so
one was
you don't want to
definitely
touch those.
introduced in 2011, so it's pretty recent use.
Okay, yeah, new evolution.
Pretty recent.
Sorry, I
2011.
meant rather it was a pretty quick use of it.
Only 7 years ago.
Since
Yeah.
the game introduced them, that is.
Oh.
So this is a reference to an old Eboshidori boss.
Yeah, this is my crappy remake of one of his bosses. because-
Which is in itself a reference to a Cherinsha boss.
Yeah.
Oh man, all the references to references.
Oh,
It's,
it
it's
gets
just
crazy.
like the
Oh, no.
bullets inside of bullets.
Oh man, do we have a final phase for you?
Fraxy is like oh yeah, okay, yeah. I'll shut up now.
Oh yeah, I know how I describe Fraxy. Fraxy is the fanfiction.net of shmups.
Yeah.
That's not all wrong.
It's
My heart. And here we see Zarro's actually
Like,
a different hipster. He's using all these bullets that no one else ever uses.
yeah.
Like no one ever uses those shockwave bullets. No one ever
Yeah,
uses
and
those
nobody
rays,
ever uses the plasma ring with a power ball inside.
which is actually like a very very cool looking thing. that
Yeah,
no
it's
one ever
actually
does.
2 bullets in one.
Yeah.
Like stacking bullets on top of each other is like another one of those hidden Fraxy arts that you gotta learn.
And it's actually really picky because you have to like line up the distances weird because bullets come from the end of the gun and the guns are different. I believe this is the final phase of Dull.
Yeah, this is what I call the
No,
bullshit pattern.
it's not. It's
Oh
not.
look, it's more bullets than no one uses but Zarro.
This is a pretty
Yeah.
cool pattern, honestly.
I actually do like this one a lot.
Yeah,
I
the
think it's
thing
okay.
with that pattern is if you don't know how to do it, then you die.
Well, of course. that's with the most stuff, really.
It's
most
like the
memorization.
Hanged Man pattern.
And
Yeah,
here we've
it's-
reached the point where the cores are spinning. See?
Really, really fast.
I mean, there's only one core left, so I mean, it's like Space Invaders, where everyone you destroy, they all get twice as fast.
So this
A clear reference, of course.
that comes to another weird issue with Fraxy is enemy parts have like 2 separate HP values. One is energy and the other is HP.
Oh, right, yeah.
When the part has energy, the HP takes like less damage. Whether it's just buffered, I don't know how the calculation works. maybe it's-
Yeah.
So
It's
with
like
that
Every
particular
part has
thing,
like a regenerating shield on it.
Yeah, so that particular phase seemed to take a lot longer than the other ones did because the part was moving so fast, but that's just because the energy kept regenerating on it as you were trying to shoot
Yeah,
it.
because it was hard to deal consistent damage, so it kept regenerating its like stupid temporary shield.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a way to disable that either. So the only way around that is to like hack the thing. So
It does something else, yeah.
no, you'd hack the thing so it would do like that -1 health thing you were talking about with an earlier boss.
Like with Atlas, yeah.
Yeah, and you just sort of subtract 1 health every time you shoot something. That's probably the only way you could do it correctly,
Right.
I would say.
That or just like not have bosses you can't hit.
Or you just use a barrier, like a sane person.
Oh yeah, that also is a thing that a lot of people do.
Or you just put a boss on a timer like I started doing.
Right.
Oh man.
Alright, Hadora music. Hadora's a good game.
Yeah.
Have you guys done a Hadora episode?
Not yet.
Okay.
Oh man.
Spoilers.
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 Oh,
Spoilers.
lasers. Rip doll.
Oh.
Who could it be?
Gasp.
So speaking of references to references,
Oh.
Type Fraxy. Neat. I never would have guessed.
So yeah, most of the people right now are probably thinking this is another reference to Reflex, and they would be wrong.
but also
was-
right.
You're right.
It's
because,
actually a reference to Reflex.
kind
Whoa.
of. The patterns that I did for this are a lot more indicative of the reflex one because I know Ebo made his own version of this. Kind of
You should have used homing lasers for this attack.
Well, the homing lasers don't really do what that does.
But they look so much more like the actual thing.
Eh.
So I-
missiles.
And then the only bullshit attack in this whole thing is probably like right now, when it sort of just does the lasers the heck out of nowhere. And you just kind of have to know to not be in the middle, or you die.
Yeah, you don't even like use the lights that you did in the previous like transition.
Yeah,
Suddenly
and-
come with music.
And then
also,
coming up-
Also
Oh,
before
really cool moment incoming.
Oh.
Not now. Oh damn it,
Also-
I mistimed it.
You're like,
I just spoiled everyone.
Probably about to do the cutscene for Reflex with the shield.
Yeah.
I mean,
So this is a remix of this theme that I made, kind of, and it's not very great. The
I mean,
drum kit sounds I had are bad.
does it just the boss looks like he has the Kamina glasses from Gurren Lagann?
Yeah, nah, that doesn't ride what wings.
Give me the FL Studio files and I'll make it sound good.
So a lot of this boss I was trying to do like what the original boss did, only without the reflex gimmick, because you can't do that in Fraxy very well.
Actually,
Unless you make the entire boss with one bullet type.
I mean, you kind of did that. You even did Ikaruga at one point.
Yeah.
Also, this
What do
pattern,
Call this kind of pattern? It's called like streamers or something?
No, streamers are the ones where you're like dodging aim bullets while tapping slightly.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it sounds
'Cause
like
it's
this.
It's my most hated pattern.
yeah, that pattern I call sweeping bullets, but the issue with that.
Oh,
particular-
now the coolest part is incoming.
Yeah, now I just sort of freeze time for a
These are off his
second.
Like, I really like how the background stops.
Yeah,
You thought Doll was dead? Nope.
yeah, I'm the master of time and space. I just kind of lock everything in black and white. Then we
Title
got this
drop!
bullshit.
Also the stone like for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's just the most fitting theme I had on hand.
I mean, it's a very good song.
Also very commonly used.
Yeah, and actually picking good songs is also like an art you gotta learn.
So does it make this boss stone like?
Sure.
Kinda.
Well, you
So
can't kill it right
does
now.
it cancel out? Does that
It's like a stun like.
It's kind of like Stonelight because you shooting it doesn't do anything, so I opted not to actually shoot it all right now.
But there isn't a giant timer.
Wait.
Kind
wait.
of, actually. It does
Oh yeah,
drain.
yeah, the HP. Yeah, I see.
The timer are these lasers on the right and left that are supposed to close in and kill you, but fortunately it dies before then.
So wait,
It's
is it
like
a
a stone with directive thinking.
Wait, is it a stone-like or is it a stone-light?
Stone-like.
Yes.
It's like the
It's
stone.
whatever you want it to be. And by the way, the video is over now.
Alright. Alright,
Yeah,
so
there's pretty
how
Alright.
much- how much stupid text did I put in this thing? Oh, a lot. I'm
40
so sorry.
seconds worth of stupid text.
Alright.
Okay,
Your question
So yeah,
presents.
next video, skip 40 seconds in.
PureQuestion presents
40?
terrible Windows Movie Maker text.
Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, it's the wife of the unregistered hypercam.
It's
Hey,
okay.
this is named after my favorite theme from Megalomachia.
But ironically, there is no unregistered Hypercam 1 here.
No, this was Bandicam.
The clearly superior recording software.
Recording software of kings. Officially endorsed by Team D13.
Okay,
So this is
countdown ready.
Yeah.
one of this
Three,
is I remember I was making this boss.
Quick.
Okay. I was actually finished this boss up right as I was entering university.
You should be doing, you know, something better like studying.
No,
Spoiler
this was like
I-
in my like last week right before classes started my first year.
To be fair, a lot of my Fraxy bosses were done in like college. So I like an idiot, I'd be working on a Fraxy boss in the middle of class, and the teacher would come over and like see it and ask what the hell I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to make a good wing pattern. What?
Oh man. It is spaghetti fall out of your pockets.
So this might be the best looking boss I ever made.
Well,
and the best lagging boss.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, you don't know yet.
I could get you some bonus material if you want to see what real lag looks like.
Real
Yeah,
lag.
it's-
Yeah, real men play with real lag. It's just
Yeah.
like,
True lag begins now.
yeah, the Fraxy
Let me-
community actually doesn't mind lag to the same degree that the traditional shmups do.
We kind of do, but like you learn to accept it.
There's really no option for that.
So Fraxy, I assume, is coded very poorly. The creator has gone out and said that it's spaghetti code, which is why he isn't releasing it as freeware or open source.
I tried to talk him to it multiple times, but not really did much
So
success
yeah.
to that.
So I never really explained it very well, but this is kind of technically like a boss. Because I made it like have a lot of things where it summons drones to fight you. I think it started with this.
Which clip right through the boss and fly under and over some parts.
Well, yeah, there were originally only 5 depths that parts could have. It actually was later up to 9, but that was after this came out, unfortunately. So you can actually, you'll see this boss is like really, really intricate with a lot of overlapping parts. So there wasn't really room to make the drones not like clip through it, which is a shame.
So regarding frame rates again.
Yes.
So this game, for whatever bizarre reason, runs at like 39 FPS constantly. Well, not always. Its intended frame rate, I think, is supposed to be 40, but I think there's a math error somewhere, and it only says 39 at any time.
I mean, nice numbers minus 1 is sort of a theme of Fraxy.
Yeah, so
511 parts.
early Fraxy, like the more enemy parts and the more bullets you throw in on your boss will just lag the game down to a crisp 10 FPS probably. An odd thing that we were discussing before the stream that I noticed and I think is true is player bullets themselves are actually a source of a lot of lag. And I think it's just because every frame the bullet itself is checking if it's hitting a part or not. So if you throw...
I wouldn't be surprised if it was against every single part also.
Yeah, that's probably also why more parts lag the game. That might also be why more enemy bullets lag the game, I don't know. But as a result, some bosses, especially some of my bosses, I threw in a ton of extra player bullets to make it look flashier. And as a result, the game would run at like a crisp 2 FPS.
It's getting lower.
Frame rate of champions.
Several of my middling bosses, like back 2012 or whenever, several of them actually, when I recorded them, ran at like 2 FPS, and then I just speed the video footage up because it's roughly the same thing as FPS, I think.
We'll be doing the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
That might
One
be,
of the
this
videos.
is one of my favorite attacks this boss has, the like bolts raining down.
Well, one of your
people really
favorites to
like-
die to.
Pardon?
One of your
Favorites
favorites
to
to
die
die to, yeah.
This one's pretty good to die to.
Oh, oh boy.
People really like the laser drone for some reason.
By the way, do you
It's
have
cool
any
looking.
idea where are the collision boxes on the boss?
The collision box is just okay. So the side parts are all solid. The middle part is hollow, leading up to the which is the weak point.
But-
Which again has no real indication. You just gotta know it.
Oh!
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, I mean, you kind of figured out from shooting it. Like the parts that are solid to you are also the parts that are solid to bullets.
Yeah, and like if you shoot a part, it like briefly flashes.
So this is the part where the boss is on the bottom of the screen. Can't hit.
Okay. Oh, was that the rapid damage bonus? Is it like, you know, the quick shot bonus?
That is related to the regenerating shield thing we were talking about before.
Oh.
Kind of. There's a weird scoring mechanic in Fraxy that nobody really utilized except maybe me one time, but not really.
Well, you
if
also did the thing where you screwed with him for white.
Scoring.
Yeah, so yes, well, score in general nobody really cares about, but there's a scoring mechanic in Fraxy that if you deal consistent damage to an enemy part without stopping, it'll give you a bonus points for consistently damaging parts. And the only time that's ever actually been used to my knowledge is in the Akujin Shoyo thing that I tried making, where bosses would enable that mechanic, and if you happen to shoot the boss consistently through the whole fight, you would get bonus points.
Don't you get bonus points already?
Yeah.
Yeah. He amped it up.
Well, I mean, you would get that flashing text at the top left that said, "Hey, you got consistent shot bonus," or whatever it's called.
So, this phase of this boss is actually sort of weird in that there's actually no health here and you can't shoot it. This is entirely a like fixed time thing, and once it reaches the end of all its attacks, it dies and goes on to the next phase. And actually, all throughout this is actually like gradually sinking down on screen, and it like started out much higher than this. So you occasionally see it like kind of sink, and then
In my
it does
opinion-
this. I actually really liked how this transition came out with like the effects going on, and especially when the beam shut off in a second. And then, so I mentioned it being like kind of a summoner boss, so the like summon something really strong because it's gone. And this thing is kind of supposed to be evocative of a player ship with like options, like a freaking Great Ace game, I guess.
That's a cool idea.
And it's also kind of like a tiny ship with crazy fire, like riffing on like a cave thing, so it's kind of a hibachi thing, but not really.
In my opinion, Pure has the most intricate mathematical patterns.
Sometimes. I
Math
sometimes
in my
dramatically
shmups.
overshoot. Like, I think you're about to see this go into a attack that's like dramatically overdone, which I tend to do a lot. So I'm kind of sick of the boss and you just want to finish it, so I just like a billion bullets. I was ready to call it a
That's
day.
actually incredibly common to everyone.
So usually my boss's final attacks are either way too hard or way too easy because I like was too lazy to test them. This is one of the ones that I think is on the too side. Like, I really like this pattern, but this is part of
Walled.
the phase.
Why didn't you dodge that one?
I probably
walled.
lagged. I think I like tried to dodge it. I like clipped on like the first forward bullet. Now we're gonna see a final attack go. I think as you shoot it, it introduces more bullets. So it has like, as its HP hits like 30%, so on, 60%, 30%, it introduces more bullets.
Well, then why are you shooting it? Come on, man.
It's a good
No
question.
reason.
Also, like
And the video is
over.
Yep.
So,
Oh, the next one's gonna be good, and it starts immediately.
yeah, there's
No
no
timestamp.
intro here.
Sin STG.
Sin STD, Sin shooting.
It is the greatest.
Sin stage.
I wonder if it's supposed to be like shooting games. Yes, you like all shooting
Yeah,
games.
very likely.
Does
No.
it require sin within an STG?
So,
No.
Sin shoot.
They definitely commit none when it comes to shooting games.
so Sin State came out of nowhere, and I still don't really know anything about them. Apparently, they were all I really know is they were friends with Ebo, apparently, and just made
Yeah.
like 8 bosses that were all amazing. and then like vanish into the ether again, never to be seen again.
Okay, the countdown. 3, 2,
yeah.
1, click.
This is one of my favorites. Not my.
And like, I want you, the viewer, to spot what boss this is a reference to. You should be able to, if you like know shooting games.
I don't even know. What is it?
I do.
Is it from Judgment Silver Sword?
Yes.
Okay.
Easy.
Alex alluded to this boss earlier, but I won't tell you why.
Yeah.
By the way, what's the rank 100?
It's the highest rank.
We talked about this earlier when we were talking about like the rank. Most people just always have rank 100 turned on. It became very popular to have secret forms that care about what rank you were on.
Because
this boss doesn't do that. But I mean, like, certain bosses have that.
Yeah, that's like another unspoken trend, which we don't have time to mention. It's like Eboshidori made a boss one time that had like the requirement to have like some rank, I think. Then
It
again,
might have been just 99 because of the most innocuous thing. She would never say your rank.
Could be. But then, and then it just became a mainstream thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's
don't
most-
since stages stuff allow the something in secret. If you set the rank to 7, I believe, refer to one of those two.
It's probably 7 because it's all based on the 7 deadly sins.
So yeah, a lot of bullets act weird if they aren't rank 100, because some of them might. Normally, it would shoot a certain number of them at once and then repeat. Is how most base bullet designs work. Some of them, I think, may have had a longer delay before they started shooting if the rank was lower than 100, so that caused issues usually. So the rank is basically like whose line score, it doesn't matter.
This is an example of energy eggs that shoot both.
And also of what's it called? The sword effector?
So,
Yes, there's the sword effector, and also in a later Fraxy update, it was actually changed to any bullet home, when previously only certain bullet types had homing built in.
the boss is trying to egg you on.
Oh.
The egg-shaped boss.
Oh, the music changed. What's happening?
Was this theme used like 3 or 4 times?
Several. I know that one Eboshidori video, Def used it.
So,
It's suddenly Satan.
slightly different looking boss now.
Slightly.
And look it up.
This is actually one of the most intricately animated bosses on this list.
Like there are a lot of subtle details, like how it breathes fire out of its nostrils every so often.
And you'll see, like, later it'll start turning its head, and you actually, if you pay attention to those, like, segments above its head, you can actually see, like, they animated the neck turning.
Super smooth animation.
Whoa.
And, like, you see, like, its head goes down, and you see the giant plates behind it, like, move separately, so it actually looks like it's leaning forward.
Some of these patterns I don't know how to dodge.
Yeah, this certainly, it uses like every feature of Fraxy at this point. Yeah,
And
it's
yeah, like,
2011.
now you see the neck turning. Those giant things are the custom bullets we were talking about earlier.
Like bullets on that just move in like movement joints.
Yeah. I don't know how inspired this was by Atlas, but it's definitely got some similarities, like the giant hands, and even the
Is what?
the breathing fire was something Atlas and this both do.
Oh
I'd say a lot
man,
of these patterns aren't
that's
very
was
fair.
unfortunate.
No, I think they're actually relatively fair compared to like a lot of other Fraxy bosses at the time. They're actually less difficult.
And I would
Comparatively,
find
they're
them
more
punching
fair,
attack.
but in general.
Like if this was a Fraxy boss beforehand, it would not like lean its hand backwards before stabbing. Like there would be no warning.
Oh. So yeah, I mean telegraphing in boss design is pretty important.
Yeah.
Eh.
It's something that happens pretty rare in Fraxy.
I still have no idea what the
It was
like
like-
phase one is supposed to be for this boss. That becomes the thing in its forehead.
It's from Judgment Sword, the final
Is
boss.
Is it?
Divine Flow. Yeah.
Well, what is it supposed to be there?
It's a saying.
And
Yeah,
then it
okay.
explodes.
And this boss really cool too.
Yeah.
And
delightful.
trivia, this boss actually returns later. Like the husk of it without the head. And the video ends now.
Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Alright, the next video starts at... one moment. At 5 seconds in.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And it's actually our first true-blooded
Real
try. Oh yeah. Now you can finally see what actual shmup stages look like in Fraxy.
Okay,
And it's actually
the
really good.
question,
I like it.
What is the quick boss context?
Oh.
We'll get to that when we get to that boss.
Well,
Okay.
we can actually get to it now, but it's okay.
We're actually gonna cover just that one actually.
Yeah, there's like only 2 of them.
Is AlexMdle symbol a quick boss?
No,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. It looks similar to some of the quick bosses he made.
Yeah, but it's way too complex. Just no way.
I mean, Mateus was also a quick boss.
That's a different thing entirely.
Okay, countdown ready? 3,
One thing you do see here.
2,
Yeah,
1.
let's go.
3, 2, 1, click. Okay.
One thing you do see here that you haven't seen before is custom sprite sheet for the enemy parts.
Nice explosive particles, by the way.
You cannot really use like different hitboxes, but you can change the graphics of like the stuff that goes on there.
Which isn't something that was done a lot, but has been done.
Yeah,
It's something
like-
that's something like a feature of the try.
Okay.
yeah, it's relatively easy to bastardize the default graphics. You just need an editing program and some kind of filter. That's how most people have done it.
There's sort of the problem that the default graphics are actually very, very good.
Mm.
So
But
it's actually pretty
you can see here that they actually have colors now.
good. Yes. But like that's sort of all he did, because it's actually very hard.
I actually really like this part, the greenish kind of military color that he used.
Yeah, but I mean like, yeah. But even this is just recoloring. Like no one ever really made a like new thing. A few people
I did.
A few people did. Yeah, you did. Well, you also did like custom bullets with some of your bosses.
I ripped them from other games. That doesn't count.
Oh. You know how to draw. Why'd you do that? You've drawn bullets.
Laziness.
You've drawn bullets then.
Wow.
I wonder if the rotating 3 dots that you replaced the power balls with was there something original or something maybe?
no.
The background is
no,
from
no.
Radiosonde.
Yep. You actually see a lot of Radiosonde graphics like in this in one later try, because those are just really good and easy to read.
Alex, have you been hiding from me? They're all the sprites from other games.
Maybe. But yeah, like the one thing that I like about this try is it's done by a guy named Spider, and the stuff you see here is not at all representative of the boss that he usually does.
No,
Like,
Oh my god. He
Like I
was
said-
eccentric.
Yeah, like
Everything was too easy for him. He
Yeah,
can
like I said-
dodge literally everything. It's a
Yeah, like-
superhuman ability of his.
like I said before that a lot of Fraxy bosses had like this fashion thing that like people would try to make them as hard as possible, and he made bosses that are just literally impossible. Just bullets everywhere at all times.
unless your name was Spider.
Yeah, and this is actually kind of fair. Which was shocking.
Especially for him.
Yeah, and like it was like, yeah, and it had like form and grace to it.
I think he realized he gave himself a limited number of lives and had to kill the boss in that.
Yeah. And like this is the first try in the series of 2. The second one is made by a guy named Dr. Thunders, which, to be honest, made some of the most outlandish stuff out there. I'm like ashamed that we cannot show more of it. He's done like a Bomberman minigame in Fraxy, for example.
Yeah, like
just made some really
it kind
cool
of
stuff.
mirrors the stuff that's made in Touhou Makofu right now.
Okay, and score roll. Any minute now? Yeah, okay. And video ends now.
Unnamed little shooter game. First 10
Yeah.
waves. It's understatement of the century.
Yeah, and it's full length again from start to end.
Yeah, it's just like Pixel described Cave Story as, jumping and shooting game. You can also save and pick up from where you left off.
All
This guy-
literally true.
It's like Mega Man that way.
This guy, Dr. T, he was pretty imaginative. He didn't have a lot of faith in himself, though, in my opinion. So he quickly fell off after a while.
He didn't really. He kept making stuff. It's just that it all is kind of in the background. He doesn't really advertise it a lot. He just kind of shows it to people.
His backgrounds were fantastic sometimes. He utilized the blending modes that you could use for custom backgrounds.
He pioneered it.
Okay, yeah, down from countdown. 3, 2, 1, click.
And like the funniest thing about his tries is that at first he didn't even make tries. He just make one like enemy file, and it would be the whole try, and it was like an amazingly bad way of doing it, but he still somehow pulled it off.
Wow.
Actually, it sort of makes things easy.
It does, but scissors
create event for the enemy file and set everything to 0 and the boss appears in the middle.
Yeah, but like still, you really shouldn't do it that way. First of all, it's like really limited. You, like I said before, you have like maximum 511 parts, and there is absolutely no way to extend it in an enemy file. If you try, the editor will crash. In fact, also, if you try to add more than 16 children parts to a parent part, the game will also crash. In fact, if you try to like copy a part in a specific way, the editor will also crash.
Oh, I think Mom fixed that. It shows an error now, I reckon.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that been fixed.
If you sneeze on a Tuesday, the editor will also crash.
But yeah, here we see like a lot of... Oh, actually, this is a really good showcase of things that I mentioned like at the very beginning of the video. This try is actually using the Warning Forever graphic parts.
Right.
And super
by the
relaxed
way,
music. Stage 1.
It actually doesn't crash if you cough or you sneeze on Tuesday.
Oh my god, diamond bullets.
Whoa.
These are actually some neat patterns. I've never watched this.
Oh, that's your fault.
Is it?
Well,
is.
now it's the time.
Right.
And oh my god, it dropped an extra life.
Lives.
That actually happened.
Yeah,
It's-
so
it-
as
it's
Fraxy evolves,
shocking.
people actually started adding lives because they understood
Yeah,
that
it's
their
like-
stuff is too insane for people to do it once.
The other way around actually. You only add your lives if you know that your stuff is not too insane. And it's something that also Dr. Thunderous has been doing that nobody else has been really doing, and which I really like. Like his stuff doesn't look too amazing, but it feels amazing to play it actually. Just so smooth.
So I forget
Like
if it was in a demo of Akujin or not, but I did at some point add the ability to gain lives if you like kill a boss in one CC, which is kind of
One life
Beefy.
or
yeah.
that's
Kill
different.
this
from one
boss
CC.
without dying for an extra life. That makes perfect sense.
Well, yeah, you have to prove you're good enough to not need it.
And like what I really like is like about these two tries is that if you squint hard enough, they could actually be like in an actual shmup game. This is playable. Honestly,
Yeah.
it doesn't look too good, but it's totally playable.
Coax
And, like,
Dr.
is
T to remake this in Game Maker.
Oh yeah, and like and this shows the true potential of Fraxy as like a real engine from shmups. Like you look at this and like, yes, works. Go play this. This is totally workable.
But it's
Well,
only
we'll see
10
a better
waves.
example of that in about 20
Like this
minutes.
is like this is the high point.
Yeah, it's
the only
2012.
problem is The other problem is even if Fraxy took off and tries were the big hip thing, there was no way to really pass them out without needing Fraxy as well as everything else.
Yeah,
Well, I
we,
mean,
we will get to that.
That's what
Like,
Alex did.
like yeah, as I said, no, don't spoil. Like this is the high point.
Yeah, this
The
is
low
definitely
point will come later.
playlist.
Low point.
Oh my god, it's a
man.
boss!
Like Fraxy definitely has limitations, and we'll get to those.
Uh
Oh
oh.
boy, Wooly.
And like this is actually a pretty cool boss, I guess.
I'm gonna miss that, unfortunately.
Oh no.
I have to leave in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
I'm
Oh
gonna
well.
try and get through everything except the last one.
Okay. So the boss becomes even more crazy. Whoa, these purple lasers. It's nice. It reminds me of like PC-90H mobs or something.
Oh yeah, it really feels like it.
Rip Katamari.
And the video ends now.
Okay.
That extra life, no.
It will never be claimed.
Alright, the next video is kind of special in that we have to speed it up.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Like twice
Like
the
a
speed
lot.
because it's really slow otherwise.
Yeah, this is an example of what happens if you don't edit video speed while throwing it through Movie Maker or whatever you're using.
Oh,
'cause,
yeah.
This is what happens if your CPU is shite.
This is
Alright,
what happens if you play Fraxy generally.
also true.
And yeah, it's also full length.
Okay. Countdown. 3, 2, 1. Click.
Go.
Also, the music's sped up, so good luck with that.
Yeah, that's fine. And also what you probably see here immediately is like there's this fancy electric weapon.
Crazy custom
That's new.
weapons.
Oh yeah.
We didn't get a lot of those in this video. We got a few, but they were mostly subtle.
Yeah.
How many
Let's see.
ship types are there in Fraxy?
Oh.
One that matters.
There's normal, attacker, tanker, quicker, and bullet hell. But the weapon has nothing to do with that. The weapon's actually a part of the enemy.
Yes.
Oh,
This
Yeah,
is a enemy part that shoots bullets.
alright, you have some sort of a
Player
shield.
bullets.
I mean, the meter. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
That's also
Probably-
an enemy part.
yeah, all
We
of it.
talked to you about cheating.
Ah.
And like these player weapons are actually enemy parts that you stick onto the player, including this bar. And I guess if it fills up, then like you change the player weapon so that it's much stronger or something.
I think it like starts shooting big blaster shots.
Ah, yeah,
I think it's a bomb meter.
could be.
Yeah, it looks like
Because you can also make bombs as part of like the enemy file.
Yeah, use
There's
your
actually-
enemy to defeat
There's
enemy.
actually even a button in the controls that doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
Except that you can have parts trigger when you press it.
actually doesn't like switch weapons.
No.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah,
there's a-
there was an
there's a-
extra function thingamajig.
Yeah, there's a button in the controls that you can bind that is
Like
just called
something.
like key _ extra, and all it does is that you can make the button do something when you press that button, and usually it'll be like you'll set it to be like a bomb, a custom built bomb.
Someone set us up a bomb.
or maybe it switches weapons or something.
It
Take
doesn't.
off.
Whatever,
Sick.
like your imagination is the limit, to be honest. Like there is a certain try, for example, in which you have 2 ships. Well, you don't use the button to switch them, but like if you die, they switch. So like there's a lot you can do in
Oh,
Fraxy.
so like in the Batrider.
Could have done it with a button.
These some nice accelerating stuff.
Oh yeah, and like you can see here, this is also new, the distortion effects. Nobody uses them actually, except for like.
because they're like really funky.
Oh yeah, they are weird. Like the later versions of Fraxy added some.
Also,
So,
because
like,
no one made any bosses after they were out.
But basically, if you want to make a really, really good Fraxy boss, then you have to memorize so many things.
Everything.
Yeah, and then there's like these new parts, like these texture effectors, sword effectors, distortion effectors, and all of them have like those really complicated parameters that you also have to memorize now, and even I cannot. It's just way too hard, in my opinion. But if you master them, then like you can do like really cool stuff.
Okay, this is a really just good-looking, just blue bullet sprite.
And here is incredibly bad-looking artifacting.
Lol, that's funny.
This is what happens if you play with lasers too hard.
I think the thing that's most funny to me about this boss is that I've already forgotten that this is doubled speed.
Yeah, actually, this is the thing though. Like, I've tried to like speed up your boss, the catastrophe, and it did not work. For starters, the music is just way too good to like bastardize like that.
Yeah.
But the other problem is just that you had like spikes. But this boss is consistently slow.
Right. Yeah, like Catastrophe was definitely not like half the speed it wanted to be.
And like the other thing, like that this boss has, like all these other things that I don't even know about, like how, like there are these energy egg-like things that explode in the bullets that home onto you.
The screen.
Yeah, or like these bullets, like those power balls that just suddenly home onto you. I've never get around to like learn how those work.
I think there's like a setting that was. I think there might have been a setting added that lets you change extra parameters of bullets that are already in midair.
It's just so difficult.
So I think that would mean that you would like set the homing and then immediately shut it off later. That might do it.
Like another funny thing there in the UI to the top right, you can see like some weird bullet-looking thing, which is gone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like some weird remnant of like soul diffuser where it would absorb enemy bullets and increase your attack damage for a while, I think. But like now it just doesn't really matter anymore, and it's just kind of a bug where sometimes it just happens even if you don't set it to.
Those are really fancy orbs.
Oh yeah, those really are. Yeah.
They probably just like kill you if you touch them, I guess.
Oh, and you can see like another thing there. If you shoot those orbs, they shrink.
Yeah.
It's actually
that also involves cheating.
yeah.
Fraxy is a hack.
No, it's just played by hacks.
Top 10 Fraxy hacks.
Roast of the century.
Spoken as the hackmaster himself.
Yeah, it's kind of
You
like...
even have a boss
it's
that's literally a hacker.
Yeah.
That's true. Doll was also hacking, wasn't it? Wasn't that the joke?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Was-
And
was-
video ends now.
Okay,
The joke of Doll was his little.
Do not forget to set your speed to normal.
I mean, unless you want to get through the rest of this really quick.
Alright, next up we have the aforementioned quick boss.
We have the shortest boss in the entire playlist.
And this one starts from... One moment. From 9 seconds in.
Oh, okay.
Made by our very own music master.
Oh yeah.
Hello. I actually did a lot in Fraxy in terms of designs, but I actually very rarely finished anything. This was like one of the 3 bosses I ever finished.
Don't worry, none of us ever finish anything either.
Okay, cool. Let's get
I never
the
started
countdown. 3, 2,
2.
1, click.
Like, one thing that went kind of unmentioned for the last few bosses is that it was still advancing chronologically. Like, you've seen in the last boss, really cool stuff. And this boss was actually done in 2015. Which was basically like...
No.
This boss is March 2014.
Yeah.
14? Oh, yeah.
It's in the VTO.
But like, this was... No, yeah, I memorized it wrong. Sorry.
Okay.
So if you ever wondered what it would look like for a ship to raise its arms and fire armpit lasers at you, you got your...
What would it look like if a spaceship shrugged?
Well, we had Atlas.
I see what you did there.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a quick boss. Quick boss was like a thing in like within the Fraxy community where it's like a contest. It would like manifest spontaneously, and then you had a very little time to like make a boss, which like initially was like 24 hours, but then it was like extended for a week.
Yeah, and then it was like you have a week, but you're supposed to do it in 24 hours of that week.
Oh,
Like, you
Yeah,
pick a
but
day,
I-
and then do it the
everyone
day, and
remember
then
that
do it
rule.
again.
but everyone's
And
Fraxy is a cheater.
Or as
Obviously.
the joke finally went, quick boss, you have a month.
it very nearly became so. But yeah, it's like you have very little time and you have to like spontaneously make a boss. And it produced some really good bosses, like from people you wouldn't even normally expect to make really cool bosses.
Yeah, like
I
Arkham
only make
Dream.
good
Like me.
Yeah, no one would ever expect Alex to make a good boss.
Holy crap, am I bad with the bullet patterns? I'm really good with boss designs because it's, it's just fun. It's really relaxing sometimes when I do it.
Well,
Just only wish I could zoom in the editor so I can,
No.
finally
You,
align parts.
your mileage may vary. I, for example, find it really hard to make good boss designs. Just really, really hard somehow.
Yeah, there.
Oh, and it seems like
has to be-
Look,
it's
look,
really
it's,
fun.
it's a thing. It's a thing that Zarro like talked about. One of the wings explodes, and then the boss falls down and explodes.
Cool.
And the video ends.
Okay. That was fast.
And next up, we have like one of the latest, freshest bosses by Vortex Reaper, which is like the resident special effects guy.
Yep.
It's like you'll see what I'm talking about. Like if you
Also,
saw the bosses before were like really flashy, you haven't seen this one.
And no intro on this one.
Yep, it just starts immediately.
Okay, countdown in 3, 2, 1, click.
And like Vortex Reaper is actually also making a shmup right now, and it's also really flashy.
Yep. Not as I try though, just like on his own, like us.
And like he was also and he was like also a proponent of really, really hard bosses, which we might see here, maybe not. He kind of chilled out of it.
And really long, really stupid names.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
name's
but-
so long they don't even put up on my stream card. Yeah, cool.
Am I crazy or is this boss actually running at the proper FPS?
Well, it was
Yeah.
in 2017.
This is the power of the future. This is the power of 2017.
Early
the
today won't
Fraxy
matter
is
what
still
kind
alive.
of CPU you have. It's gonna
Oh, yeah.
run at a pretty decent
Like
frame rate.
yeah, but look how smooth it is.
the
Yeah.
technology was there yet.
Try playing this on a PC from 2007.
See how
never
that
mind.
goes? You might not have a
man.
PP by the end of it.
I don't think this is actually the proper FPS. I think this is just being sped up.
Maybe.
Could be, but it still looks really good. And honestly, if like if it helps, you should definitely speed up your video.
Well,
It's that much
normal
better.
Speed.
Probably like 30 FPS.
Yeah, you can tell it's
39
double
is
speed
max.
because of the bomb goes off. It like accelerates in animation.
Could be, but like still, it looks really smooth. And like this is probably a really good representation of like a modern Fraxy boss. Like this is a try, for example, I think. Because
Yeah,
like
it's probably a
background
try.
changes. It's got like
Yeah.
really good effects.
You,
looks
can,
really
you
good,
can't do background
patterns.
stuff without a try.
You eventually
like a-
learn that you can make a boss easier in the editor if you just put in a try in the middle.
Hmm.
That way you don't need to rotate and align the parts so it will be in the middle in the free play mode. Also, for some strange reason, the parts are always misaligning when you rotate them around, so they're
Yeah,
always
yeah.
off center.
They actually they
Yeah.
misalign even if you don't rotate them
Yeah, they
because it like operates on radiance, I think.
I got like super OCD about fixing that in like all my bosses. Or I would always like go mild.
Oh, that vortex effect. Oh, that lighting effect. Oh, those winning effects.
Oh, that monolith effect.
Spoilers.
He beat us to it.
Yeah, but
This was
Cave
April.
beat him to it. But yeah, that's probably not even the craziest example of like special effects that he's using. Like there was another boss that was even longer, I think.
That we cut out, but yeah, I would have liked to
Yeah,
have had that one in.
Oh, and this is cool too.
That almost looks 3D.
Yeah,
Whoa.
and you kind of like see the one of the weaknesses of Fraxy right now, where he like intentionally bumped an energy egg because it didn't kill him, just
Oh.
to make space.
Yeah, these look like rotating columns, like two
yeah.
giant glasses.
But they're actually just bullets that are being shot out and then turning back.
And it's a very practical effect.
Yeah, but it looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
VR is really good. He earned his cameo in Monolith.
Okay.
Whoa.
Oh.
I actually haven't watched this either.
Wow, this slash spam. It's crazy cool.
This is why I think the video's sped up or something, because those are going really fast.
I mean, you can make them this fast. You can make them even faster.
Nothing
I
to
can
challenge
slow it
with
down,
Spider.
but it'll take
You can
more
make them
time.
practically instant.
Yeah, but I don't think the tail trail can be that long without it taking a while to go away.
Mm.
Huge laser thingy aimed at you.
I mean, Zarro, can you actually tell the difference between sped up and run at like higher FPS? Isn't that basically the same thing in the end? Like,
Well,
Fraxy
there's
doesn't-
just...
Fraxy doesn't do frame skips, does it? Like, if it was running at 20 FPS and doubled it, wouldn't it look the same as if it was running at 40 FPS?
Probably. I can't quite tell.
Also,
Is it
the
a-
major trope for VR is that he really sucks at physical design, so he does everything in the vectors.
That's not strictly true, but like...
In this
Yeah,
case,
kinda.
he did try making a physical design.
Yeah, he put 6 whole physical parts.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there is like one boss where he did like a big physical design that looked kind of clunky.
Yo.
So
I don't remember
this-
that one.
This pattern looks
Clunky
like
or
you have to
clunky?
just know. This is the Neo pattern. You just need to do. I don't know how the heck you dodge this.
Well, there's the warning lights, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they
Yeah,
last
this
for,
is
like,
this is not the
quarter of a
best boss to
second.
showcase like the special effects.
I like that eventually the bosses go absolutely batshit insane, and you're like, how a human
No,
is supposed to
that-
fight
that-
it?
Look,
That's his
we're all
thing.
we're all big fans of Cave here.
Yes, but
Speak for yourself.
Here we have the dash and the energy bar. And then there's like one bullet to one shot him instantly.
Yeah, this seems fairly difficult.
Yeah, this
Fairly,
is the
fairly
rest of-
unreasonable.
Yeah.
This pattern is the rest of the video.
No, it also starts doing this thing.
Oh, okay. It got harder.
No, it
got it.
started adding more. Because that's what it needed.
So you spawn, shoots a couple
Is
times.
there like a Vortex Reaper boss where just every time you die it refills full health?
Oh man.
Which is just literally unkillable.
That sounds more like something Spider would do.
No, he made it. It's like...
No, no.
Oh yeah, it was a radio zone the boss, but like with a secret form. Oh, by the way, a video ends.
Oh. And the final one of today.
And the longest one.
And unfortunately, where I must make my leave.
Okay, see ya.
okay.
It's been nice
I'll,
to have
I'll
you.
catch the VOD later. I heard there's an epic raid coming up.
By
Maybe
the way,
exaggerated.
I'd like to allude back for a minute to that two or three videos ago. There was the Kuro boss. It was actually made by Rumia, who's actually in the chat. So poking me
Oh.
to credit him because no one did.
Yeah.
Poor Rumia, always being left out.
Where is the
Okay.
other boss? We just like sits cross-legged. With like the cool Japanese symbols. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, since it's the last one, we can start it from the beginning with the intro. Okay.
Alrighty then.
Countdown, please. 3,
Alright.
2,
Hooray though.
1, go.
Alright, so this is like probably the most serious attempt at making like a shmup in the Fraxy engine. It like tries to save the game for one. It has like settings somewhat. And it's actually got like 3.5 stages in before like I realized that it's probably not worth it. And it probably showcases a lot of weaknesses of the engine more than anything else. And we'll get to them as we go along. So basically, first of all, we have this intro. You
It-
cannot skip it,
it's
except at the
inspired-
start.
It's inspired by Nemesis 2, I suppose. Right?
Not really. The music is from Nemesis 2, but well, mostly. But
No,
it's
it's
inspired.
Salamander 2.
Yeah, kinda. But it isn't really inspired by Gradius or its offshoots. I would more say that it's like inspired by stuff like Red and Silver Gun, still, even if it's like a horizontal shooter. And Hydora, a little bit. I really like that game. A little bit of Reflex is also in here, because you also have a shield. But it doesn't reflect anything. It just protects you from lasers. And yeah, it's got like a menu and everything. And then you start it, and credit to Zarro for the HUD here. It's really cool, I think. And it's even got scan lines for no real reason. And really bastardized enemy graphics. And the custom player ship, and there's that shield. And yeah, it's basically playing like a shmup, a horizontal shmup like that. It isn't
Shut up,
It
really
really
take my
does
money.
look like not Fraxy. If you get my
Kind of. Yeah, like it's kind of a stigma to look like Fraxy, because at that point you're looking like a game made in a hacky pretend engine. But if it doesn't look like Fraxy, then all of a sudden it's legit.
Don't worry, there are so many people that look down at Game Maker, and yet
Yeah, I know. But like, okay, so first of all, yeah?
I'd call it the RPG Maker problem, where if everyone uses the same tile map, that tile map gets associated with bad
Yeah.
games.
yeah.
It's a Comic Sans of game. It's a Comic Sans of tile maps.
And so basically the first problem that you are probably not seeing is the fact that Fraxy is very limited in the way it can display itself. So what you see now is like a full screen version of the game, because otherwise there's only two resolutions. Normal, which is incredibly tiny, and double, which is a little bit better, but it breaks all the graphics for starters. And it's still not really big enough. And kind of like really upscale thing, because otherwise if you like change the size of the screen, you only really change the size of the playable area. That was kind of seen in the previous videos. So that's a big no-no. Second of all is the FPS, so it's probably not that bad here. We'll get to another one when we die, when we like lose all the lives, because Fraxy got like problems with continuation or like with its loops. You can't really like continue the stage after you die, you just have to fade everything out, and it's all really noticeable. And the communication between like all those enemies is practically non-existent, so you have to time it all correctly. But it still looks okay for now. Like here we have the first boss.
I can't wait until Alex tells me what kind of music he wants for unnamed game version 13370.
We'll see about that later. But it's even got a custom HP bar, which is cool. And here's a ripped graphic from RadioZonde.
That's not
Like
the one.
the laser. No, the laser is.
That looks different.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
also
no,
that
it's-
kind of 3D.
Oh wait, no, I drew it. My bad.
You use Radio Zonde in that tribute tribe, I reckon.
Oh yeah, right.
correctly.
But I definitely use some other like sprites from RadioZonde in this one too. Oh yeah, and like here's reflecting lasers. They reflect off of those electric things.
If it's done by Alex, then that's a
Yeah.
given.
So what's that? The
but-
shield.
It blocks lasers if you don't shoot.
Oh, so yeah, like
That's all it does.
Oh, but the text, like the stage complete, you could have done that. You had the one job.
And it's not even affected by like the scan lines. And scan lines magically disappear right now. And
Oh, so
they
it's like
reappear right now. They're part of the HUD.
yeah, all right.
Yeah. And here we have like the background like somehow fade away
Yeah,
into this one.
note yeah that AlexMdle has a really good taste in shmup OST.
And here we have like those columns that shoot bullets even if they're off screen, because I cannot detect when they're off screen. So there's like those clumsy red arrows pointing out where the bullets come from.
That's cool. I mean, the playfield is really small, so having these warnings is pretty convenient.
It doesn't help.
Oh,
It's a built-in feature of Fraxy, though. It's often
It's
not
just
enabled.
it's just trying to like soothe the pain. Oh, and like if you get like really close to some enemies, they get like some symbol over them that says disabled, which like prevents them from shooting bullets, and it's also a part of the enemy. Like all the enemies have to have that coded in, otherwise it doesn't work. Which like is also kind of bad that you have to do it, because again enemies cannot communicate with you. It has to be like somehow done like that.
Cannot communicate.
Yeah?
Oh, disable. Oh, is that the seal effect from Helsinki?
Yep.
Fancy.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And the checkpoints.
Yeah, it's again really hacky. If like there was a better way to do it, I probably would. But like Fraxy has only like 1 or 2 ways of displaying text, and that's what I'm gonna use.
Oh, that's cool. And I mean, it's not cool, but oh well, we have to do that.
It's not cool.
So yeah, now the stage goes downwards. Scroll, just however the background's done.
Yeah, no, background is just one solid block that you have to arrange in a way that somehow like makes sense.
Yeah, but
Like
how do you make it go downwards?
Oh, you just Tri-Fires use a scripting language that you can just tell to do things. So like as the time passes, you tell, okay, spawn like this ship, spawn this ship, and the only way that you can check for something is like you can check whether or not some ships are still existing or some time has passed. And like after some time or after all the ships are there, you just tell it, okay, now scroll down. And like for that purpose, you have like 8 variables, I think, in total. It's not a lot. And like until some short while ago, you didn't really even have more than 1 loop. So you just had 1 main loop that did everything, and then didn't have anything else really.
Just be sure to use the right angle to determine the way it scrolls.
Yeah. Oh, and now we have, according to Zarro, the most bullshit boss in the game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
hate this
weak
guy.
points detected, Simon says. Oh man,
Yeah,
it's horrifying.
Yeah,
I like there's a pattern just called mess.
yeah.
Best.
You are entirely correct in the reasoning why I called it that. It is a mess. I hate it myself. But yeah, this is called Simon Says because you either go in a very specific direction or you die.
And then there's this pattern, which is a pain.
It's okay. Compared to like the other ones.
Yeah, but it's a bit childish.
Okay, the awful patterns begin now.
Yeah, this is still tolerable. It's just like the
No,
one after.
just wait. Now wait. 1 moment. Now begins the worst pattern.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah,
have
this is-
given a
this is-
warning.
This is dumb. And now go. Like the only,
It moves with you and shoots lasers.
Yeah,
and
but-
it's this giant cluster bot.
no, this is the only good pattern on the boss.
No.
Yeah, totally. Like you have to actually time your shield and stuff. And still move. Well, it moves too.
You're demanding a lot from the player for stage 2.
I'm
course.
sorry.
I'm evil like that.
So that.
And the next stage displays a few technical things that I'd like to point out in a moment. Like we were talking about Dr. Thunderous, that one user, and the background blending method, and that's how we achieve this. The background, it's rotating. It's like black magic.
Yeah, I mean it's a pretty old game gimmick actually. Just Nebula's
Yeah.
done that.
Yeah, this is like the epitome of like cheating at Fraxy. All this is actually just a like 5 or 10 background images that like animate over time, and at the same time the left and right part are like blended to be really dark, so it looks like it's rotating. Oh, and by the way, that one enemy had like disabled upside down because Fraxy.
See, if I were making this background, I would have had like the next frame of the image stacked on top of the other one and have it rotate or have it scroll fast enough that it looks like it's animating. Like you remember Kujin's the title screen, how it's like a rotating pentagram thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's one really tall background that just happens to move at screen resolution frames per second.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it will
pretty
work too.
like I find it really nice that you don't have to hammer on the fire button all the time.
that would be monstrous. Who would do that?
No, I mean, you also have to, well, sometimes not press on it because there's a shield. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just,
that,
I
yeah.
just hate it when sometimes, yeah, you have to just hold the fire button all the way.
Oh, and by the way, the second thing that I wanted to point out is like these two walls on the up and down there. These are also like distinct enemy files, which are just persist through the whole stage. And like I said, they don't communicate with each other really well, so there's like a sub loop which does it. But the problem is it's not like perfectly synced to the stage. You just cannot do that. So coming up ahead, there will be like a segment where those walls start to go up and down. You will see that in just a moment.
Oh, I really like this design. Like, you have to fire to destroy the homing missiles, but you have to not fire to pass the...
Yeah.
Yeah, the lasers. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, here they go like up and down in a specific pattern. And the problem is, since I cannot really calculate where they, when they do that, like they don't telegraph that, sometimes they both do that at the same time at the end. And there's nothing I can do about that. And it's like a very good chance of just killing the player outright.
Okay, you actually took my suggestion of making the turret move when it fires.
Of course.
So the turrets move now, okay.
They don't fire if you destroy them for like a few seconds. Oh, and it moves now. And then this bullshit happens.
Classic. Wouldn't really say
Yeah,
it's
it's like
bullshit.
classic scaffolding enemy.
Yeah, I mean, who likes scaffolding?
How does it fold up like that, by the way?
It's just movement, like joints, and like two groups of movement joints, and it like folds in whenever one of them dies.
Ah, I see.
And now comes a boss that I didn't really even bother to like do any kind of attack names for, because it was at the end, and it's really hard to, and everyone hates it, deservingly so, because it's really hard. And,
I'm thinking
yeah.
bees when I see that.
It's actually kind of sort of inspired by a boss from like Progir Storm. You'll see why in a moment.
Oh.
Like when the health bar reaches 0, it will do a transformation of sorts. Its neck will get really long.
Oh, yeah, I remember the stage 2 boss.
Yeah.
This is a pretty clever use.
Yeah, and like I feel I've made the boss have a few too many phases, because like this is phase 2, and when you shoot enough, it becomes phase 3, and then you shoot it a lot, and it shoots a lot of bullets and laser.
Healthy dosage.
And then one more phase. Why not?
Surprise!
Surprise, you got one life
yeah.
left. Good luck with
Yeah,
And I'm pretty sure that I'm going to die here, and like have to repeat the boss fight again.
it's
But
karma.
it will show a-
the game kills
yeah.
its creator.
Oh wait, one more life. But yeah, basically when I die, which happens right now, Undertale music plays, and you see like it stops spinning. The boss just kind of keeps firing, and then it like fades away. This is the best way you can like end it, short of like just pulling a black screen over the whole thing. Because like because Fraxy, when the player dies, the script code just does not continue. Which is
Oh
kind
yeah,
of
now
bad.
we have to redo this.
Oh yeah, but this time I can actually spoil it and say like, okay, we will survive this. Yeah, and another thing, which well, while we're still on the boss, I might as well talk about it. Saving in Fraxy was kind of a pain, because you could not do it at all. The best you could do when I was making this was like there's like a debug function which like writes some stuff, and you can read it too. Well, you can read any file actually. And I was kind of using this to dump save data outside of the game, so that you could like see how far you like went, what your high score was. But it was incredibly inconvenient, and you had to like use these like the debug, like save debug function from the Fraxy. and that kind of like spoils the whole illusion that this was not a like based on Fraxy engine, which like is still a problem in itself. And a friend I have, Flan, he made a custom launcher, which like started the game. Like it started the try immediately without like having this Fraxy shell first.
Oh.
But you can still, exit back to it. And so I edited pretty much like all the strings out, so you could not see the menu options, even if they were still there. So again, really hacky, really a lot of cheating. And the really interesting thing is, later on, the same friend has also he made the launcher like encrypt the save file. And this was such a huge thing that a couple months later, the creator of the game, Mon, conspicuously also released a function that allowed you to just say, write save files and read them and encrypt them.
Oh boy. So it was actually the boss that pushed out the creator to release an update, in 2015.
We assume so. We don't know.
That's
but it wasn't
crazy.
really in 2017. It was like a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
this was like very long in development. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, like this is the last stage, or at least like the last half of stage. I think you will see some familiar things in there very soon for people who care. And this was supposed to be like a much faster stage, but I can't really see what's going on in here.
Yeah, the CRT filter works really well here. I mean, scanlines.
But this is about as far as it goes. No try has really made it past 3 stages in Fraxy. Most of the people just gave up. It's just too hard to make it work. But it's not impossible. And I still think that Fraxy is like a really great engine for people who wanna start making things, who wanna learn basic stuff of
prototype.
It was a Tic Tac.
It totally was. Oh, and this thing.
You died to the scenery.
Yeah, I tried to wedge myself into the gap between those 2 blocks. It's totally possible. I just didn't do it right.
Yeah, I've heard that Ikaruga can go between bricks on the wall.
Yeah, but the gap there was actually really big.
Oh, and,
yeah, and
he's moving. Oh, but yeah, long time ago I actually imagined the design. Big spoiler.
Yeah. And game
I
over.
thought you said you survived. Oh, come on.
Yeah, but no, this is pretty much where it ends. After this mini boss, there's nothing.
Okay.
By the way, Ebro asked if there are updates coming, but I can safely say that updates stopped since 2015. He doesn't really respond to messages either anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he just gave up at this point.
Time to wrap up the thing.
Yeah, very fitting.
So, what would be like your goals in Fraxy? Like, how do you plan to use it later on?
Actually, there's still some stuff that we want to make in Fraxy. It's like again, it's not a very good engine by itself, but it does give you a lot of creative freedom to do stuff that you really want to. If you don't have too many ambitions, if you don't want to make a commercial product in it. And I assume that me and a lot of people here too have probably planned ahead in the future. They still have bosses that they want to make. I definitely have a bunch. I still would like to finish this, but this try, but I don't think this is going to really happen. And I have a boss, and another boss, and another try in the making, which I will totally finish someday.
I have a playlist that's hidden called ARP, and it refers to a try idea I've had kicking around forever, and I've made some of the bosses that were going to go into it. Unfortunately, it looks like the topmost video on this got deleted, so that's great. Cool.
Not too surprisingly, I don't really have any further ideas for Fraxy, because I have been inactive from it for a couple of years now, and most of my ideas that I come up with, I would like to use my actual game that may actually be released someday.
Yeah, the final boss.
Well,
But,
Fraxy inspired me to game dev.
Yeah, something.
And
That's that's a very important thing.
Yeah, that's what I would like to add. That the big part of the charm of Fraxy, for me at least, was the way you could see people evolve their own styles. And now that those people are making their own games, you can tell that where all those influences came from.
well, I'm actually working more on music than anything, though. I really want to make something like a Fraxy version 2, which I really want to address the issues that the current that Fraxy currently has, and making something better. Perhaps not as easily accessible because it will end up being more program oriented, since it will be more like a framework for a game engine. Yeah, and the name of the project is Viper.
Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed this beautiful showcase of Fraxy's history. We have gone through all of the years one by one, and only if they're just major spike later on, and so definitely a good source if you were ever interested in trying out to make a shmup boss just for yourself or for your friend, or just make some sort of a gift, or try some impossible challenges. Yeah, Fraxy has it for you. And that concludes SG Weekly number 137 Fraxy. See ya guys next week.